Welcome, everybody, to a brand new Blu-ray and DVD out and about video today, and this week's He's Pandora rediscovered in Avatar: The Way of Water, hitting store shelves along with those pesky deadites back for blood yet again in Evil Dead Rise. The action war thriller The Covenant, a little bit of boxing biopic love for Big George Foreman, and a bunch of 4K goodness on top of all that with Vanilla Sky, The Firm, National Lampoon's Vacation, and oh, by the way, Scream Factory is putting out a collector's edition 4K release of the 1982 horror classic, good old George Romero and Stephen King, Creepshow, plus much more. So let's go see the deals, exclusives, and we are at our first location, Walmart. So let's go in and see what they got. All right, everybody, we are in at Walmart, and wait a minute, we're not under the new releases. I think we're under a new banner. Yes, you bet your ass, for Avatar: The Way of Water. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is sweet, man. Oh, this is great. Oh, man, this is cool. Oh, dude, you have no idea how I am so excited by this great display of Avatar: The Way of Water, dude. You know how long it's been since I have seen a display piece at Walmart? It has been a long ass time, man. Maybe you guys have experienced some, but as far as I'm concerned, dude, I have not at all, man. So this is amazing that they're finally getting in big display pieces again. This is awesome. Oh, that is so cool. That is so great. Oh, that is amazing, man. I know that it's just cardboard, but for me, as a movie lover, as a physical media fanboy, this is pretty goddamn sweet, and I just gotta take it in just a wee bit, man. I definitely do. Oh, this is so great, man. Let's dive into the Avatar James Cameron universe love with none other than the Blu-ray digital for $22.96, the DVD for $19.96, and oh, a little bit of Walmart exclusive 4K goodness, yes. The 4K Blu-ray Digital Ultimate Limited Edition with ooh la la lenticular packaging, baby, for $29.96. Pretty goddamn sweet indeed, man. Not bad. Hey, who doesn't love a little bit of a lenticular love from time to time? And I definitely don't. Oh, man. Dude, Avatar, man, it has been a long ass time to get to this moment in history where we are finally getting the sequel to Avatar, man. The first movie came out in 2009, and we had just gotten the sequel in 2022. Yeah, that's a while. That really is, man. And to be fair, for the longest time, I didn't even think we were going to get a sequel, right? I kept hearing all the stuff about, oh, we're making the movie and we got to get the visual effects right and we're taking our time and oh, it'll be out at some point and we're working on it and the actors have been cast and we're doing the visual effects. And I kept on hearing all of this stuff, right? All the progression reports and all the shit that was going on. I'm like, okay, yeah, I keep on hearing it, but when are you actually gonna deliver the motherfucker? I mean, seriously, man, when are you actually gonna show some actual footage, trailer, something? And even when the trailer happened, even when we got some sort of footage to salivate over, I thought, well, I still don't know if it's actually going to come out or not. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it, man. So the fact that it finally hit movie theaters, that it finally actually exists and it's out there in the world is a goddamn miracle in and of itself, man. It truly, honestly is, man. And yet, I didn't watch it in the movie theater. I know you guys are thinking, wait a minute, you are one of the only people in probably all of America that has not seen this in the movie theater. I know, right? I got problems, all right? It's not for a lack of wanting, though, because my friend Nick really wanted to see it, and I kind of did, but I kept on passing it by, other things to do, and I'm like, I don't know, man, 3 hours of this shit. I'm like, do I really need it in my life? Seriously? Well, see, that's the thing, though, because I'm not gonna lie, when the first Avatar came out, it looked stunning, it looked amazing, and when I finally got a chance to see that first Avatar movie, I was kind of lukewarm. I mean, I didn't hate the movie necessarily, but did I love it? Not particularly either. I thought it was very formulaic with the story and the characters, and yeah, the designs are cool, the alien stuff, and the visual effects were absolutely amazing and stunning, and the world of Pandora is utterly gorgeous. But I thought the story had been there, done that, and just transplanted into a sci-fi imaginary style world, and it didn't really get my blood pumping, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, some of it was good, some of it was not that great. It was just half and half. And I don't blame the people for really loving this movie, and I don't really blame the people for not liking it either. It's one of those movies that, was it overhyped? Maybe. Did it underdeliver at moments? Yes. Does it deserve to be the highest grossing movie of all time? I don't really think it does. I mean, like I said, it's an average at best story with phenomenal visual effects. And what baffles me even more than anything else, guys, is the fact that this is the most highest grossing film of all time, yet nobody ever really talks about Avatar. In all honesty, nobody really does, man. People talk about movies that were hated on, or movies that didn't make much impression at the box office way more than they ever talked about Avatar. So when the sequel came out, I was like, yeah, it was the highest grossing movie for a long time, still is, and that's great and all, but the movie came out in 2009. We're way past the expiration date point here, man, and I thought, is the hype just over-warranted? Is it really going to deliver? Will it even be worth it after all of these years? Like, there were so many questions, and I wasn't quite sure that it was actually going to really pay off. I thought James Cameron put all of his time and effort into doing a sequel that could potentially be a bust. So, despite all of my misgivings and my concerns and even my lack of trust in James Cameron from time to time, especially when it comes to the world of Pandora, was I right? Was I wrong? Did this deliver, or was this an epic fail? Well, to be honest with you, man, this movie, I should have never doubted James Cameron. Fuck, man. Seriously, this was an amazing movie. This was phenomenal. This was epic. And I am so proven wrong. Seriously, man, I am so glad to be proven wrong in the best way possible. I saw this with my girlfriend, all right? We sat down, we popped open Disney Plus to check this thing out, and it was over 3 hours long. And when I told my girlfriend that, she's like, whoa, 3 hours? And I'm like, okay, look, we can watch some of it, and at a certain point, we can turn it off, and then we'll come back to it, right? No big deal, no harm, no foul. Hey, a little bit of Avatar one day and a little bit of Avatar the other ain't hurting nobody. And before we knew it, swear to God, guys, it's almost 11 p.m. We've got 10 more minutes in the thing, so we're like, might as well just finish it, right? I mean, seriously, that's what we did because it was that engrossing. We were hooked. I mean, dead set hooked on this thing, man. We seriously were. And I got sucked into the world of Pandora, and
the atmosphere and the creatures and the tribes and the bad guys and the dilemma between good versus evil. Everything was absolutely stunning and gorgeous and took my breath away. And I actually cared about the characters and the family dynamic of the Sullys and the dangers that they were put in, and everybody else having to suffer the consequences of it, and the different tribes with the water culture and the forest culture and the clashing between them and the camaraderie, and how the bad guy avatars are trying to infiltrate their world. Dude, everything got me. I was absolutely reeled in with this, and I never expected it to be, because I wasn't really that taken by the first film. I mean, there were moments that I really liked, but I didn't really love the characters. But this time around, man, it really got me. Like, the characters actually were dynamic and unique and interesting and fascinated, and I actually cared. I mean, maybe it's because we had already established everything from the first Avatar movie, right? We had to do all of the heavy lifting in that first film to finally be able to take all of the restraints off and just hit the ground running, man. And we did, and it worked brilliantly. I was amazed by how much I really like this movie, way more than I liked the first Avatar movie. And had you said that I was going to really love this a lot more, even a year ago, I would have said you're full of shit. But yet here we are, man, and it actually pulled it off, man. And James Cameron hit it out of the park with a movie that is not only visually stunning and absolutely gorgeous to look at, man. I mean, my God, the visual effects are phenomenal in this thing. But I actually liked the story. I actually was engaged with the characters and was rooting for people and wanted to see the bad guy fail. And I was actually really invested in the fight sequences and the action scenes, and the last hour of this movie is wall-to-wall action, and god damn does it work, dude. This is fucking amazing, and I'm shocked. Even my girlfriend really loved it, man, and she wasn't really impressed by the first Avatar movie either, man. So I walked away from this movie really just flabbergasted by the fact that it works as well as it does, man. This should not work. Truth be told, a movie that comes out in 2022 that is a sequel to a movie from 2009 where, yeah, it was the highest grossing movie of all time, but nobody was really majorly discussing it outside of huge Avatar lovers, man. It wasn't the most highly talked about film ever. I mean, people talk about Ghostbusters or people talk about John Carpenter's The Thing more than they do fucking Avatar, man. And those movies didn't do half the box office. So it just goes to show you that I underestimated this, and I think a lot of people did. Now, look, if you didn't like it, I get it, I understand it, you're not wrong, but if you love it, you're not wrong either, man. This movie really is that damn good, and as someone that just was so-so on the first film, this movie really turned me around, man. James Cameron is fucking brilliant, okay? And damn me for ever doubting the man. Seriously, the Pandora world is safe in that guy's hands, and I can't wait to see more. I actually never thought I'd say that, but yet here we are, man. Avatar is truly epic in the best blockbuster of ways. 3 hours flies by in the blink of an eye because James Cameron is just that damn good. And damn me to hell for ever doubting him. I mean, truly, dude. Something tells me that Pandora is very safe in his ever-capable hands. It really is. And truth be told, the Avatar series does do miracles. It's a miracle that I even like the damn thing. So, praise Avatar, because the people who bow under it, they ain't wrong. Oh, ain't wrong indeed, man. And look at this. Oh, what a display for Avatar. Fit for a pretty goddamn solid movie, man. Not bad at all. Pretty goddamn solid indeed for Walmart, but what else is there worth showing off? Well, physical media, of course. Duh. And we definitely got a little bit more of it to show off. Not bad, including the regular 4K Blu-ray digital for $29.96 as well. So you can either get the only at Walmart exclusive, or you can end up getting the regular 4K edition. Honestly, I really like the artwork on here and here as well. So either way, I don't think you're losing, man. Really nice artwork, dude. This is a good movie worth having good artwork for. Just saying, man. Not bad indeed, but enough of the James Cameron Pandora world, because it's time to get a little bit naughty, a little bit nasty, and a little bit evil in Evil Dead Rise. Yes, the Blu-ray DVD digital for $22.96, the DVD for a good old $17.96. Not half bad, baby. More Evil Dead love can never, and I mean never, be a bad thing. Oh man, Deadites dominating the earth. I could get used to it. I could, because Mommy loves you to death. You bet she does, baby, because I got a chance to watch this in a movie theater with John. Yes, because we liked the trailer. We're big fans of the Evil Dead franchise, so when in Rome, of course we're going to go and check it out, man. And indeed, we definitely did. And I got to admit to you something, okay? I am a big lover of those first three Evil Dead, Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell classics. And when they did the remake, I was very anticipating it. I really wanted to see it. It had potential to be really good. And I left the movie theater very disappointed, actually. I mean, it has all the blood and guts and gore that you want as a horror lover, sure, but at the end of the day, I could give a shit about the characters. They were bland as crap, and on top of that, quite honestly, it just felt like it was going through the same motions as some of the earlier Evil Dead movies, but not doing it half as well. So I thought, okay, fine. It didn't do me any good. I didn't really care for the movie. It is what it is. I'll always have the first three, and that's it, right? No more Evil Dead. And then I heard about this, and I was like, really? We're making another Evil Dead movie? We're trying again, man. All right, well, back to the well yet again, man, for another franchise. And so I was just, again, lukewarm, man. Just after my last experience with that remake that just did nothing for my ass, I was like, what is this gonna give me? And I left the movie theater feeling just okay. You know, look, I don't hate this movie, but I don't really love it either. There are some really good moments in this movie, some really fantastic, edge of your seat, horrific moments that you just eat up, man. As a horror fan, you just dig, dude. I love the mother being possessed and how she's slowly losing it, and when she turns into a deadite, how she's so evil and manipulative. I mean, I love her. I kind of think that she's the best part of this movie, man. I mean, the blood and guts and gore is all there. Some gnarly kills. I mean, you get some of that really great Evil Dead badassness, man. You get some really good shit. Of course, you gotta have the chainsaw in there, cutting down some deadites from time to time, so you do get that too. So all of the Evil Dead staples are there, but I don't know if it was really half as successful as I was really wanting it to be, man. I mean, yeah, all of the really cool kills and blood and guts and gore just splattered onto the screen. Some really crazy deadite designs, but I really didn't care for the characters. They were either stupid for stupid's sake. They made really stupid ass decisions, man. I mean, moments where I was like, come on, seriously? I know he's a teenager and he's a fucking idiot, but there's an earthquake and he goes down into an area where it could crater on him at any second, and he just happens to find this weird book made out of flesh and teeth, and he just decides, oh yeah, why not some light reading and some weird records and shit? Like, really? Like, what the like, come on, man. I mean, I can take ridiculous moments. I can take curiosity for the sake of curiosity, but then there's certain stupidity moments where I'm like, come on, man, like, you really are a fucking idiot, alright? And truth be told, a lot of the characters are like this. I'm just speaking the truth, man. Random moments where they turn into absolute numbskulls and dumbasses at the drop of a hat, and I'm like, really? Shouldn't they know better? Okay, I guess not. Or they're absolutely, completely naive to the point of like, come on, you really couldn't see this shit coming. It's absolutely asinine. Wait a minute, there's something wrong with Mom. I think she's messed up or something. Are you okay? Or certain instances where they know that the mother is whacked out. They know that the mother has turned evil and is going apeshit. And she just has to say, oh, well, I'm all better now. You could let me in. And the kids are like, oh, well, Mom's all better. I guess we can let her back. I'm like, really? Come on, man. And I thought people were supposed to be smarter than they were back in the day. I guess that's false. Damn, dude. There's just not much to these characters. And I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, Seth. If you really love those early Evil Dead movies, those characters don't have much to them. We don't get much story or much investment in them. They're basically food for fodder for the Deadites as well. Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. The problem is these characters in this new movie don't have much of a personality. At least in those earlier films, those characters, those actors gave a personality to those roles. Even though they didn't have much to work with, they still gave them that. This doesn't have that, man. On top of that, it doesn't really feel like a Evil Dead movie. It feels like somebody trying to remember how to make an Evil Dead movie and not succeeding very well. You've got all of the Evil Dead staples, but it just doesn't feel like Evil Dead to me. It feels like a copy. It feels like a burned on demand disc of a better movie. Like, I'm just saying, man, it really does, dude. And for me, not that it was watered down necessarily, it just felt like it was going through the motions, right? We're making an Evil Dead movie, so we have to do all of these to make it an Evil Dead flick, but it doesn't feel unique or genuine. And it doesn't really feel like they were doing anything outside the box. I mean, outside of the apartment setting, which is kind of cool, I don't think they even really used that well enough either, man. I felt that they didn't really take advantage of it as much as they could or even should have. So, there's moments that I like in this movie. There's certain aspects of the horror that I think really make it work, but the characters really don't, and it just feels like an average what if somebody other than Sam Raimi makes an Evil Dead movie. And yeah, it doesn't really work out that well. The movie was successful. I can see why people are really digging it, because again, it's really gritty and kind of grimy and very gory and bloody and literally flying in your face. I can see why the gorehounds like this shit, right? I can see it. But for me, I need more than that, man. I need some good personalities. I need heroes that I can root for. I need people to stop being fucking dumbasses and actually be a little bit smarter in my horror cinema. That's not too hard to ask for. You can have all the blood and splatter on the screen all you want, but at the end of the day, you either make it more fascinating than what's come before, or the older stuff is just better. And I kind of asked myself, what was the fucking point in the first place? And that's kind of what this movie did with me. I'm just going to be honest. Is it better than the remake? Yeah, it is. Not by that much. It's okay for new horror standards, I guess, but for old school horror movies, man, it doesn't even touch the classics. Evil Dead, the old school, is still king, and the new one just doesn't cut it. Not even with a chainsaw. If you get hit in the head enough times, eventually you'll become successful. Just ask George Foreman. Oh, where's the Blu-ray digital of Big George Foreman? for $22.96, the DVD digital for $19.96. Ah, yes. The miraculous story of the once and future heavyweight champion of the world and Grill Master? Well, apparently so, man, because most people, if I say the name George Foreman, what do you think of? Something tells me that you're not thinking of boxing. Yes, if you're a sports aficionado or somebody who is a lover of boxing, yes, that might be the first thing that comes to mind. But for most average, ordinary Americans, it's most likely the George Foreman grill. Yeah, it is, man. Truth be told, actually, I still have a George Foreman grill, dude. And actually, I kind of like it. I really do, man. It cooks really well, so I'll keep mine as long as it keeps on working. You know what I'm saying, man? George Foreman and grills are kind of synonymous together at this point, man. And so, for most people, I don't think boxing ever factored into it necessarily, but for a lot of people it did, and for George Foreman it was a big part of his life, so why not make a biopic out of it? Ah, yes, more biopic love. I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime, and I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't even know this movie existed. I mean, true story, when I heard about this movie, I was like, wait a minute, did it even come to movie theaters? This was a thing? Like, I didn't see any trailers for this thing. I didn't see any promotion for it whatsoever. I was like, wow, okay, this thing just came and went in a blink of an eye, and now it's on physical media. So, was it good? Was it worth it? Is it a worthy biopic, all things considered, of the legend that is George Foreman? And I'm going to be honest with you, not so much. It's not terrible, all things considered. I've seen some reviews where they say this thing is shit, it is just downright terrible. I'm not going to go that far, but is it a biopic boxing masterpiece? No, not either. Average, okay at best, skimming the surface. Everyday biopic you've seen multiple times? Sure, why not, man? I mean, that pretty much is what it is, dude. I mean, George Foreman's life is a fascinating life. The idea of this guy that came from nothing, who ends up becoming the ultimate boxing champion, and the fame and the notoriety, and also the downfall and the ultimate comeback story. I mean, it's a good tale of George Foreman's life, the ups and downs and the complications, the tragedies and the successes, and yet this movie is just paint by numbers. It's nothing that you haven't seen before. It doesn't bring anything new to the biopic table that you haven't seen done 100 other times, man. All this ever turned out to be is a glorified greatest hits story, and it doesn't even do it that well, because the important moments from George Foreman's life and career are glossed over at best. I mean, the legendary boxing match between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, yeah, they show some of it, but it's not really dived into all that much. Or what about the great comeback story where George Foreman becomes the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world for a second time? Yeah, there's some montages, but not much else. Or what about his time as a religious pastor? Well, it shows some highlighted moments here and there, but isn't really all that talked about or dealt with. I mean, that's pretty much what this movie is. It's standard biopic mumbo jumbo, and at best, it's just moments from his life that, yes, are important, but the movie doesn't really take much time to dive into them and really focus on why they're important and what the deal behind them was. It's just a lame attempt at a biopic, and it doesn't do much other than that, man. And it's a real shame, because George Foreman is a fascinating figure, a fascinating guy who went from the most dire of circumstances when he was a child to becoming this great heavyweight champion icon, to then basically a nobody, penniless, to then clawing his way back through having to go back into the ring again and then selling grills and becoming famous that way. I mean, there's a lot here that they could have done, but they just don't do it, or they just don't do it well. On top of that, I'm just going to be honest with you, the guy playing George Foreman, Chris Davis, I mean, he's a good actor. He did somewhat well in the role, but he looks nothing like George Foreman. I mean, at all. And I'm like, dude, they couldn't even try to get some similarity. It would have been kind of appreciated, man. I mean, just speaking the truth, dude. Even the actors at moments are good. At moments, they are even skimming the surface too, dude. I don't know. It's just uninspired. And it's just lackluster and mundane, and it brings nothing new or exciting to the table whatsoever. It was over 2 hours long. It didn't need to be that long. It was treading water as it is. And man, it's just a dead fish. It really is. It's pretty bad, dude. Look, I love a good biopic. You guys know that. And this could have been really entertaining. Could have been really exciting. But it turned out to be just okay average. When my George Foreman grill ends up making better products in this movie, yeah, we got a problem. The fight for freedom is on full display in The Covenant. Yes. The Blu-ray DVD digital for $22.96. The DVD for $17.96. War movie, you don't say. You guys know how much I like my war movies, and I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime, and I'm thinking to myself, Jake Gyllenhaal. Well, gee, I like him. Directed by Guy Ritchie. He ain't half bad. So, on top of that being a war movie, man, that's a triple threat, baby. Oh, it truly is. So, I wanted to watch this thing, and basically, it's about the occupying of Iraq, Afghanistan, and how these interpreters are helping the American military out. And there's this one group that is commanded by Jake Gyllenhaal, who is going around and trying to find weapons and bombs and all this jazz, and the interpreter is helping them, obviously, and he's called traitor, he's called all these type of names by the people in the region, and the Taliban hate him and everything about him, the fact that he's helping the Americans. And one day, the battalion ends up getting ambushed, gunned down. And the only two people to end up surviving that are Jake Gyllenhaal's character and the interpreter. And they're trying to get back to their base. They're trying to get back home. And the fight for survival begins. And even when they end up surviving, it's not without a lot of hardships. The fact that Jake Gyllenhaal ends up getting injured and incapacitated. The interpreter has to end up basically saving his life and Jake Gyllenhaal's at the same time under extreme peril and difficulties. And once he does, Jake Gyllenhaal goes back home to his wife and his kids, and the interpreter is still in Afghanistan, still there trying to survive, trying to not get caught and killed by the Taliban. And Jake Gyllenhaal's like, this guy needs a visa. He needs to get to America, and it's the fight to get him home and all of the struggles that go along with it, man. Oh, dude, let me tell you something, man. I didn't quite know what I was walking myself into. I just knew that I liked all of these elements together, and I wanted to see if it was a perfect stew. And at the end of the day, I ain't gonna lie, it was absolutely awesome. It was fantastic. I was on the edge of my seat. I was blown away by the characters and the drama. You really care about these people's situation. You care about if they're gonna live and if they're gonna die. And you really are rooting for them, man. This is a great survival story. Kill or be killed, man. And the idea of not leaving a man behind. And just the camaraderie of that. And it's so well done, man. The battle sequences are amazing. With every gun going off, every bullet, every soldier's life in danger, I was intrigued. I didn't know what was going to happen next. And it was true. I was on the edge of my seat, man. It really was great. The way that Guy Ritchie shoots the action scenes in this foreign land where clearly the Americans have the major disadvantage and you don't know what threats are coming from what corner. It's phenomenal, man. Not only that, but you get to understand the characters and know their dilemmas and their motivations and their frustrations, and you actually get to involve yourself in their lives and their emotional journeys, and that is where the payoff ultimately happens, man, and it succeeds in spades. You get to understand the type of soldier that Jake Gyllenhaal is, and Ahmed the interpreter, and why he's doing what he's doing, and the dangers that he's going through, man. It is a phenomenal story with phenomenal acting and great action sequences. It really is absolutely top-notch, man, and I enjoyed every second of it. It was over 2 hours long, and it breezed by, man. Where a movie like Big George Foreman felt like a slog to get through at 2+ hours, this one, man, I could have had this going on for another hour and I would have been absolutely satisfied, man. I dug this movie so much. It really is one of the best war movies in recent memory. It really shows the grit and determination of war, the dangers of it, the death of it, and the idea of threats around every corner and you never know what's going to happen next, man. The heroism, it tackles it all and does it spectacularly. It's absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. I thought it was going to be amazing, and damn glad that it was, man. So good. Guy Ritchie pulls it off again. I never had a doubt. Oh, I never did indeed, man. Pretty goddamn solid. Gotta dig that. Oh, and I definitely do. Pretty goddamn solid, man. But look at this. All of the physical media love. We got war. We've got boxing. We've got The Evil Dead rebooted. We've got Pandora revisited and so much more. Not bad, dare I say. Pretty goddamn solid. But is there anything else worth checking out? Of course there is. The new releases prove it. Oh, it does indeed, because sometimes sisters have to stick together even in the most dire of circumstances. In polite society, yes. The DVD for $14.96. A little bit of sister love definitely goes a long way, dare I say, because Big Trouble, Little Sister. Sometimes the youngest one ends up giving you the most problems. Oh, indeed they do, because I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime, okay? And I was not sure about this movie necessarily. I saw some of the trailers. It looked okay. Didn't look phenomenal, but it could have been kind of quirky fun, all things considered. I didn't watch it in the movie theater because I had no interest in it, but I thought, well, once it hits on digital, physical, I'll kind of give it a chance, and thus, that's where I was, man. And this movie is about Rhea. Yes, that younger beauty right there. And she's worried about her older sister, Lena, who has always had her back, always been by her side. They've been misfits, but they've been misfits together. And suddenly, she's falling for this guy, this young, upcoming, successful doctor, and she's like, something's wrong, something's odd here. She usually wouldn't go for this, but she is now. Then all of a sudden, they're announcing that they're getting married, and she's like, I've got to stop this. I've got to destroy the wedding. I've got to get my sister back, and all of the crazy hilarity and complications that go along from there. Now, at first, I'm like, okay, I get it, right? You're scared that you're going to lose your sister, and you don't want to say goodbye, and you want to hold on to her as long as possible. So I thought, okay, it's kind of like this crazy, wild action comedy where she thinks that the doctor is doing some evil stuff, right? The mother is doing some evil stuff because they're trying to take her sister away, right? It's all in her head, imagination stuff, right? And little did I realize that this movie takes a hard, and I mean hard ass left turn, man. Something that I was not expecting, right? Because actually, they are doing something evil. Wait, what? Yeah, they are. Because, yeah, sure, the sister's in love, but the doctor is doing it for much more nefarious reasons, like insemination. Yeah, we're going there, man. Like, I'm dead serious, dude. I was not expecting that shit. So basically, I'm just gonna come right out and say it, man. So the doctor and his mother are basically trying to find a strong enough fetus that will carry the clone of his mother so that his mother can be reborn and experience life again. Yeah, I'm not joking you. That is literally the whole crazy science fiction fucking nuttiness that we got in this bitch, man. And I was not even closely, even remotely expecting that shit at all, dude. Not even fucking a millisecond, man. I mean, it goes from this innocent teenage sister story and the quirkiness of her and her friends and turns into something dark and twisted really fast. I mean, they still are trying to go for the whole like teeny bopper, like, oh, me and my friends and we're gonna kick ass and oh, we're gonna take down the mother and the wedding and everything in the backdrop of this very eerie insemination clone story. And I'm like, dude, talk about two things that don't work whatsoever, man. Like fire and water, not even fucking close, man. Peanut butter and fluffernutter, well, some people like it, but they be dead ass wrong. Oh my god. Yeah, oil and vinegar, whatever you want to say, dude, it does not work, man. And I was watching this with my girlfriend and she was kind of getting uninterested before it got to the crazy plot. It just kind of kept on spinning its wheels, man. It was like the sister is worried about the older sister and suddenly she ends up quelling her fears and oh, it's just in my imagination and it's just something simple and yeah, I shouldn't worry. And then suddenly something happens again where she has to worry and then everybody gets pissed off at her again. It's like rinse, recycle, repeat every like 20 minutes or so. And I was like, okay, what's happening here? Can we get to the meat and potatoes? And once we got to the meat and potatoes, I was like, yeah, dude, this is a meal that I'd bring back, man. Can I get the check, please? What the fuck? Like, I was like, dude, I did not expect that, man. And this was turning crazy. And once I told my girlfriend about the whole thing about, oh yeah, the insemination and the strong fetus and shit, and she's like looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. And I'm like, dude, seriously, I'm not lying to you. It's in the movie. I promise, baby. Believe me, will ya? Oh god, it's just so fucking far out there and it's so fucking wild that you even say it and you're like, ah, come on, man, you must be pulling my leg. I'm like, no, I'm not pulling your leg whatsoever, man. I mean, I'll give the actors and the director and the screenwriters credit, man. I mean, they really go for it. They're committed to this shit, man. It's not fake, it's not phony, it's not all in somebody's head. No, it's really happening. This is really what the mother and son duo is doing. Because the doctor ends up saying that he did have a wife before and that she ended up dying tragically. And later we find out that the reason why she died was because her fetus wasn't strong enough. And I'm like, what? To carry the clone? Oh, shit. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck, dude? I mean, there is some moments that I like. I like some of the quirky teenage comedy. I like the young sister and her peppiness for what it's worth, man. And the story with her friends and the diabolical plan that they have to screw over the wedding. I don't know, man. Like, there's moments that I like in this, and then there's other moments where the whole thing with the mother and how she's this evil, temptress bitch, and she's like, oh, ha, ha, you'll never stop my evil plan, ha, ha, and we will rule the world, and my fetus will come out of your sister, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, oh my god, man. Like, overtopping it like a motherfucker, are we? Like, I was like, there's moments where I'm like, ah, geez, man, this thing is really going for the gold and ridiculousness. and kind of achieving it, man. I don't know, dude. Like, it's a hodgepodge of ideas, a mishmash of things that really don't work together, and it doesn't ever gel once, man. It's kind of quirky and comedic and fun at moments, and other times you're just sitting there really just scratching your head, baffled as a motherfucker, thinking to yourself, dude, somebody greenlit this shit? Somebody wrote it? Somebody pitched this? Like, my God, man. I don't know, dude. There was a moment that I kind of had fun with it, and there was a moment where I was like, I just don't know about this goddamn thing. It's a real conundrum, dude. I kind of liked it. I kind of didn't. It is what it is. It's something, I'll tell you that much. You haven't seen this type of plot before. I mean, maybe you have in a crazy, wild Skinamax movie, but outside of that, something that came to movie theaters, I highly doubt it, man. Polite Society is anything but normal. Weird, odd, bizarre, yes. And you gotta give it credit for that.
Dive deep down into The Tank. Yes, a DVD for $12.96. Ah, look at this. Because some families have secrets. Well, honestly, more than you think. Interesting. What is this? After unexpectedly inheriting a mysteriously abandoned coastal property, Ben packs up his family and travels to explore the place, bewildered about why his mother had never mentioned its existence. However, her reason for secrecy soon becomes clear when the family accidentally frees the ancient, long-dormant creature, oh shit, that had terrorized the entire region for a generation, including Ben's own parents. Oh shit. You done fucked up. Oh, damn you did, dude. Okay, that's kind of interesting, man. Inheriting this place, you don't know what it is. Suddenly you get there and you realize that, damn, dude, what I just unleashed could kill us all. I like that, man. But then again, wouldn't there be, like, instructions? Right? Like, maybe in the will, or maybe when you get there, there would be some sort of, like, you know, manual something. I mean, just saying, man, wouldn't that kind of make sense? Oh, by the way, you've never been to this place, but here's what's in it, and this is the instruction manual. I mean, maybe they wouldn't believe it necessarily, but instructions would kind of help. Just speaking the truth. Just saying, man. But that could be kind of interesting, man. I wonder what the creature is, man. Is it kind of creepy and foreboding, or is it just really kind of ridiculous and cheesy as shit? Something tells me it's not really cheesy. This doesn't look like something that would go for the cheese, but maybe kinda. I don't know, man. I've been intrigued by straight-to-DVD movies before based on the premise like this, and been horribly, horribly let down, man. I don't know. It looks interesting, to say the least, as long as they pull off the creature. Because you could have a really great movie, but if you fuck up the creature, I've said it before, man, that's a mortal sin as far as I'm concerned. That really is, dude. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. What do you guys think? Definitely let me know. Not bad if they pull it off. If they do. But I guess just have to wait and see on that one, Perhaps. But I guess that's all for the physical media new release love, man. There was quite a bit. There truly was, man. And I was definitely digging what Walmart was giving. Not bad. All the new release love that I can handle. Let's head out. Walmart's sweet, but when they carry the physical media, it's even sweeter. Oh, yes, indeed it is, baby. Yes. We ask for new release love, and thus we get new release love at good old Wally World, man. Not half bad. We've got the great physical media appreciation. We've got a little bit of exclusive goodness. I think overall, Walmart was definitely do their due diligence in a big bad way, and I very much appreciate it, and I know you do as well. Yet another week where they're showing off the love in a big bad way, and let's hope it keeps continuing week after week after week. They're on a roll, and let's hope the streak continues. That's at least what I want. I don't know about you guys, but more physical media love can never, and I mean never, be a bad thing. So Walmart was definitely supplying the goods, but what about the other stores? How about we go and check it all out? All right, everybody, we are at our second location, Target. But before I go in, I gotta talk to you guys about something. Now, normally I don't really get into what a company makes necessarily, but when it comes to this, man, I've got to spotlight this because even I was shocked by this, all right? There is a new report that came out. And now that we're amidst the whole writer strike and potentially actor strike, you name it, it's worth noting sometimes what companies make and what other people don't make. Netflix made 900 million. I want to stress that again. 900 million on Squid Game. But the creator of Squid Game, by the way, received zero in residuals. Zero. A big fat goose egg, folks, is what that dude got. And Netflix, they made 900 ducats, baby. Oh my God, 900 million ducats of them. Holy shit. And now you guys kind of wonder why I'm supporting the writers and the creators and the actors over the actual companies, because it's shit like this that fucking astounds me, dude. Okay? Look, at the end of the whole experience of what's happening, I hope that these creators and these artists get what they deserve, because they're fighting to try to make some type of money off of the shit that they've created. And when I see this, yeah, it kind of astounds me, dude. I mean, seriously, this dude got so much praise and notoriety from fans and people who really love the premise and how they executed it. But none of that matters if you don't make some money off of what you created. The idea that Netflix made all the money and this dude got diddly shit. And these people are fighting for fair wages, for fair compensation. The fact that, yes, you know, getting another job is great. Yeah, getting recognized is good for the industry, but it'd be nice to get a little bit of money off of something that people love. They're not asking for buckets of money. They're not asking to be greedy. They just want a fair wage. They want to actually be compensated for the work that they continue to do, and hopefully work that people appreciate and that they actually get paid for that shit. That really isn't asking much. That really isn't, dude. And you got to remember something else, that a lot of these people, the last time that they striked, streaming wasn't really a thing. Okay? It wasn't really something that was as popular as it is now. And so now with these companies making so much profits, record amounts of profits over these movies that these people are writing and acting in, and the fact that they don't get paid fair enough for what they've actually put in for the effort, that's saying a lot, dude. And Netflix and a lot of these other companies, they don't report their stuff accurately. They don't report how much they make or how many views they get or subscribers that they've gotten because of certain content. They don't report that stuff. That stuff, those numbers get fudged, dude. And so no wonder that these writers and these creators and these people want to actually try to get a handle on streaming before it gets so crazy and so ridiculous and it gets so out of hand that these people, even if they do get paid, they won't pay exactly what they're worth. That's a big deal, dude. I mean, look, I love art for art's sake, but at the end of the day, we are all human beings. We all need to eat. We all need to live someplace. We all need, you know, certain accoutrements. We do. And the way to get those is through having money in order to get the things that you need and want in life. And if you put in the hard work, you should be getting paid for that work. I'm just saying, man. You know, a lot of people are wondering about this strike. A lot of people are wondering how long it's going to go. What's the big deal? What's the point of it? Why does it matter?
This matters. 900 million from Netflix matters, and the creator gets nothing. And that's just one instance, by the way, guys. There's plenty of other examples out there, man. There really is. This is only one, and there's a hell of a lot more where that came from, dude. So just remember, next time you see people picketing or you see news about the strike, just know that they're doing it to get a fair wage from studios that are robbing them blind. It's happened in the past. It's going to happen again. And if we don't have control of it, then 900 million will be a drop in the well. Just saying, man. Let me know what you think about that. But in the meantime, what about the physical media goodies? Walmart had it, but what about Target? I say we go in and find out. All right, everybody. We are in a Target under the new releases, and oh, I think we have some releases worth showing off. Oh, indeed we do, because we have to re-explore Pandora, Navis, space whales, and everything in between in Avatar: The Way of Water. The DVD for $19.99, the Blu-ray digital for $24.99, the 4K Blu-ray digital for $29.99, and well, there was only a Target exclusive, but they seem to be selling out of that bad boy. But if you were so lucky to get it, you got it for $27.99. Not bad. Hell, they even have a little bit of display love as well. Not as big as Walmart, mind you, but they're definitely doing their own thing. Not bad, man. Not bad at all. Look at that, baby. Can't say Target does the best display love, but hey, at least they're representing. At least they are. And it can't be beat. Oh, well, it can, but, you know, I'm trying to give them some credit. Oh, man. Not bad, baby. And not bad at all. And I gotta talk about James Cameron, because you can't really talk about Avatar without talking about the man, the myth, the legend himself, because he is as tied to Avatar as Avatar is tied to him, because he is the ultimate creator. He is the one and only master magician himself that created this entire world ecosystem of Pandora, the characters, the creatures, you name it. He literally is his own version of George Lucas, for Christ's sake, man. Okay, Avatar is not as popular as Star Wars, but the fact that this is all in his brain, in his head, and he brought it to life, this whole unique world, this whole universe, that's no easy feat, man. Not many people are able to pull that off, and he is absolutely one of them. And on top of that, let's be real, man. People have been underestimating James Cameron for years, okay? This is not just the first time that people are like, well, I don't know. I mean, he's really putting out a sequel to a movie that came out in 2009? Really? People were ready for this movie to bomb, to fail. There were articles that were being written about the potential failure of one James Cameron. And now, including myself, we all have to eat our words. We truly do, man. But then again, he's been down this road before, man. I mean, think of something like Terminator, right? I mean, Arnold wasn't really quite a star yet, and James Cameron wasn't really a major high-profile director, and making this science fiction thriller, a lot of people are like, I don't know how good this is going to be. Wait a minute. Arnold barely has any lines. He's just a stiff, bored android-looking weirdo. Like, really? Oh, he's coming from the future to the past to destroy this woman so she doesn't have the child who's going to be the future leader of the rebellion that's going to take down the bad robot. What the It was kind of confusing, and I don't know if many people were on board, but once they saw the movie, it became an absolute classic. Indeed it did. Or what about Aliens? Because nobody was really on board with that, man. I mean, not even the crew that was making the goddamn thing. And everybody was like, you're really gonna try to be better than Alien? Ridley Scott, you're really gonna try to one-up that dude? Come on, man. You're never gonna make a film, not even equal to Alien? Why even try, man? And the crew didn't even want to deal with him, even when he was giving out free screenings of the Terminator to say, hey, this is what my vision is, try to be on board with me. They didn't even want to hear that shit, man. And it wasn't until the movie came out and it wowed people how action-packed and immersive and scary it was, and how it just felt like the next level to the Alien franchise. Everybody shut the fuck up. I mean, seriously, they really did, man. Or think of The Abyss, how ambitious that movie was, and with the visual effects, and at the time how risky that was, and everybody thought that was going to be an absolute failure, and it absolutely killed at the box office. It really blew people's minds away. Or even Titanic. I mean, go back all the way to 97, 98, and remember the fact that this was a high-profile production. It cost a pretty penny to make this movie, with the lavish sets and the costumes and the extras and the CGI. It really put the studio in dire straits. On top of that, James Cameron didn't get paid. He actually gave his salary back to the studio in order for the movie to get the proper financing that it needed. So he put a lot of his own finances on the line. He put the studio's finances on the line for a movie that I think a lot of people were like, Titanic? Really? A love story amidst a boat tragedy? Like, I think a lot of people were very skeptical about it. And then the movie comes out and it blew everybody away. The love story was so breathtaking, and the destruction of the Titanic was so massive and epic, and man, seeing it on the big screen, it was so stunning and gorgeous at the same time, and it just really got to you emotionally and dramatically and visually. It was just such a stunning movie, man. It actually, well, before Avatar, was the highest grossing movie of all time. I couldn't believe that, man. Titanic. Everybody was writing that movie off. Nobody thought that movie was going to be successful, not even to the level that it ended up becoming, but James Cameron believed in it. And it's the same thing with Avatar, creating this whole new world with these creatures and this universe. And are people really going to want to go see it? I mean, even if it's visually stunning, there's so other movies out there that are just as visually stunning, so why this one? But James Cameron bet right. And it's the same thing with Avatar: The Way of Water. And everybody continues to doubt James Cameron every single time. There's always something where you're like, well, I don't know. It worked for Cameron last time, but really? Man, eventually your luck runs out. Well, I hate to break it to you, but his luck still hasn't run out, man. It's still working to this day. In fact, if I was James Cameron, I'd probably be playing the lottery every goddamn day, because, man, you're bound to hit big sooner rather than later. I mean, you really would, dude. Look, I have learned many times over, maybe I haven't always learned my lesson, but occasionally I have, to not doubt James Cameron, because this guy has been down and out so many times before, man, and there's so many people who have written him off, and he continues to prove the naysayers wrong, and Avatar is yet another one of those, man. We're gonna have this same discussion a couple years from now, man, where everyone's gonna say, well, Avatar 2 did big business, but Avatar 3, and then we're all gonna be proven wrong yet again, man. And, you know, look, James Cameron, yes, is he hard to deal with? Is he a perfectionist to the nth degree? Yeah, he really is. Look, I don't like people that are pricks, all right? But I gotta give this guy his due, because he knows how to make a damn good movie, man. He knows how to do good storytelling with wonderful effects and visuals that blow your mind away, man. He's good at that shit. And I'd like to see him try his hand at other things, not just the Avatar world, but if these are the movies that he ended his career on, then consider me a big fan, because James Cameron is a master of cinema. Count him among the Spielberg, count him among the really wonderful artisans, because he is a name unto his own, an artiste to a very precise degree, man. And if you count him out, make sure you do your due diligence, because he will prove your ass wrong. Let's get ready to rumble with Big George Foreman in the Blu-ray digital for $24.99 and the DVD digital for $22.99. Damn, I could be a boxing announcer. Come on, man. Come on, man. I got the voice for that shit. Oh, if only, man. I'd make a hell of a lot more money than I'm making now, man. Oh, yes. Big George Foreman, indeed. Good old boxing biopics. You gotta love them, baby. And oh, I definitely do. Oh, you bet your ass I do. It's not the first, nor will it be the last, but it's in a long line of boxing biopics that are actually quite fascinating and unique, man. I mean, there's far more than you might think there is. Movies like The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg, Cinderella Man with Russell Crowe, Rocky Marciano with good old Jon Favreau in the lead, man. That's actually a really good one, man. Highly underrated, well worth watching. I really love that. Of course, there's Hands of Stone from, I believe, 2016 with De Niro. They've made a ton of really great Tyson ones. There's one from 1995 that I really like, man. That's a really good Tyson movie that I actually really dig. I mean, of course, you gotta talk about one of the best of them all, Jake LaMotta himself, Raging Bull. Come on, if I didn't say that one, then I'd be skewered. All right, lest we forget, because I don't want to leave it off the list, a little bit of Muhammad Ali love in Ali with Will Smith, which is really great as well. Here's the thing, though. All of those movies that I mentioned, they're a hell of a lot better than Big George Foreman, man. And I feel bad for George because, man, he got the short shaft. And it's not that you can't make an exciting George Foreman movie. You can. I truly believe it's possible. But this movie ain't it, dude. I don't know whether it was the script, whether it was the director, which is kind of weird because George Tillman Jr., who ended up directing this movie, he's a good, solid director. He's made some really great movies like Men of Honor back in the day, which I really love. The Hate U Give. He's a great director. I just don't know. It wasn't the right formula necessarily. It's just a goddamn shame at the end of the day because I truly think that George Foreman deserved a really great biopic, and seeing the world of boxing through his eyes and the successes and the failures and the struggles and the achievements, it would be phenomenal. But that's not what you get with this movie. It's just predictable, paint by numbers, average, everyday biopic stuff that does nothing outside the norm to make it stand out among the rest. And nowadays, for audiences, you need to do something that really electrifies them, that really gets them to take notice of you because they've seen it 100 other times. And if you don't do that, then it's just kind of forgettable. And this is what it ultimately turned into, man. And it's just a shame, dude. It honestly is. I mean, I love a good biopic. I think boxing biopics can be really fascinating, putting a spotlight on some of these lesser figures in a sport that is dominated by so few and really give them a story worth exploring. And I think George Foreman is one of those people that really deserves that. Yes, he got a lot of notoriety. Yes, he got a lot of notice, more for his grills than anything else, but I think he's kind of been forgotten a little bit by time, and a good biopic can really resurrect a figure to prominent status, and this movie just doesn't do it, man. There's better biopics out there, and then there's examples like this that prove, well, if you make a lackluster one, Well, ain't nobody gonna really be talking about that shit. All right. And something tells me that years to come, this isn't even gonna be close to the conversations, man. Hell, it doesn't even beat one of my favorite boxing biopics of all time. It's not even about a boxer. It's about Don King. 1997 HBO film only in America. Do you remember that shit? Don King being played by Ving Rhames. That was fucking awesome, man. That was great. One of my favorite biopics of all time. I love that fucking movie, dude. Oh, man, there's some really great boxing biopics and a hell of a lot more of them. And hopefully in the future we'll see more. I'd love to see one on Evander Holyfield. I'd love to see so many different ones out there of so many great boxing legends that haven't even gotten the love yet. But they need to do better than Big George Foreman. This is a recipe for disaster. Take notice, filmmakers, because there's the good examples and then there's Big George Foreman. And let's hope that you don't repeat the mistakes, because this one will get knocked out very goddamn easily. Girls rule in polite society. Yes, the Blu-ray digital for 1999. Ah, yes, this fine little gem. Sure. Oh, why not, man? Oh, God. You know, look, at the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't hate the movie, as I said earlier. There is certain values that I appreciate from this flick. One that I never really talked to you guys about is the spotlight on Hindu, Indian, Pakistani culture, which I thought was really fascinating and quite interesting. It gave the movie a different flavor than, I think, just your standard everyday kick-ass chick flick, right? Which I actually kind of thought was cool, man. And for me, at the end of the day, I've always said this to you guys, representation matters. And to bring in more cultures and new ideas to the screen is never a bad thing, man. And there's been certain instances over the years, whether it's animated movies like Coco and Encanto, that spotlight representation in a very unique way, and I think polite society really brings that to the table as well. And you know, for me, it is kind of slow going to get to this point of really featuring these characters who are Pakistani and give them a spotlight. I don't think even 5 years ago we would have gotten a movie like this, man. I mean, I don't even think that would have been possible. But again, with certain movies opening the door to giving cultures more of an opportunity and a chance, here we are, man. Even movies like the live action Aladdin, seeing some of those really great characters like Princess Jasmine being represented by an actual Pakistani, Afghani, Indian style actress, that matters, man. Or even think about Ms. Marvel, for instance, seeing the Pakistani lifestyle in a more positive light. That's something we haven't seen really in mainstream cinema probably in a long ass time, if ever, man. Or look at Harold and Kumar. I mean, yeah, it's not exactly family friendly, but it is better representation, just average, just chill dudes trying to get high and shit. So there is that, man. Or even big name actors now like Kumail Nanjiani, who has really become a big staple in Hollywood, doing big blockbuster movies like The Eternals, man. So I think it has gotten better, and slowly but surely the days of True Lies are kind of getting behind us. And I'm not saying I hate that movie, because I fucking love True Lies, man, but usually terrorists are played by Pakistani or Afghani actors that can't get any other work any other way, so they have to play the terrorist. They have to play the evil, maniacal bad guy, man. And yes, there is still roles like that out there, but way back in the day, that's how it was, dude. And I don't fault those movies necessarily, because that was the times, man. That's what these actors had to have, because that's all that they were being given. And so, hey, I'm in the next James Cameron movie. Oh, what are you playing? Yeah, I'm playing the terrorist that Arnold has to take down. Oh, how many times have you played the terrorist? Oh, yeah, this will be the 25th time. Ah, well, at least you're on the big screen. You know what I'm saying, man? So, I think slowly over time, things do get better. I think patience pays off, man. And it's nice to see it represented in a really unique and interesting way, to say the least, in polite society. I just don't know if the movie entirely works. I like the concept of the sisters and the love that they have for one another, and the fact that she really cares for her sister enough to go out and try to stop this crazy maniacal doctor from infecting her uterus with his mother's clone. Like, it's just so weird, dude. And I give them credit for really going bonkers with an idea like that and really going for it. And at least it was kind of creative and inventive. I just don't know if it entirely worked, but I appreciated seeing a different culture, seeing a different lifestyle, and having it on the big screen and represented for all to see in a very positive light, man. So there is that. So even if the movie didn't really work 100% for me, even if it gets really crazy and ridiculous and sometimes laughably bad at moments, I at least appreciated that, man. And I think going forward, movies like Polite Society or series like Ms. Marvel, even Harold and Kumar, I think they're steps in the right direction. Let's hope in the future this isn't even a thing. Let's hope that it's just represented for the sake of representation, and it's just the normality of it. Now, it's slowly becoming that way, slowly but surely. Patience. It's the word of the day, folks. It is indeed. And I think over time, Polite Society will not be something new. It will be just the average norm. And I can't wait for that day to happen. But let's keep the whole clone uterus thing out of it, shall we? Groovy, baby. Groovy indeed. And Evil Dead Rise, the Blu-ray DVD deal for $22.99. More Evil Dead love, because you gotta remember, kiddies, it's from the producers of the original classic. However, even though it's from the producers of it, doesn't mean that it can live up to the original classic's legacy. I'm just saying, and I know me saying that is probably gonna piss a lot of you off, because I can guarantee you a lot of you guys really loved this movie and I didn't. And let me try to explain it a little bit more, guys, because for me, all this movie is really doing, and it's the same idea with the remake as well, is it's just kind of going through the motions. Evil Dead is a feeling, right? Sam Raimi created the Evil Dead world, and Sam Raimi was so great at combining horror and comedy together in this seamless melting pot, man. And the horror was just as effective, if not just as in your face as the comedy was. And because he was able to balance the two perfectly, one moment you were laughing your ass off, and the next moment you were literally terrorized and just shocked by what was on the screen. And that was perfect Sam Raimi. And all I'm seeing, whether it's Evil Dead Rise or the Evil Dead remake, is these directors just trying to imitate Sam Raimi and everything that he did, and not doing it nearly half as well as the original man did himself. Whether it's the huge tracking shot of the evil in the air going after somebody, that's classic Sam Raimi, but we gotta put it in the Evil Dead movies because it wouldn't be an Evil Dead movie without it. Or the idea of the Deadites, or the chainsaws, certain imagery with the cutting off of the hand, you name it, right? It's always been there because that's what Evil Dead always was. Those were the staples of it. And these directors just have to put it in because that's what fans expect from an Evil Dead movie, right? And it just feels like we're just going through the motions at this point. And you can have crazy wild blood splattering all over the screen, body parts flying in the air, all that shit, man. But if you don't really care about the characters, or they don't have exciting personalities that you stick to, and an actual engaging plot where you actually feel genuinely scared and terrified and feel like you're watching something unique and interesting right in front of your eyeballs, then it just feels like you're aping off of the old shit, and that's all it ever really becomes, man. And that's the truth of it. And I hate to break it to you, but these movies are just the same old, just trying to update it to modern times. And these filmmakers, at the end of the day, they're directors for hire. Even Fede Alvarez from the Evil Dead remake, dude, he was hired just as somebody to shoot the film because they already had the concept, they already had the script, and they had already really thought it all out. They just needed a director to shoot it, and Fede happened to be the guy that they chose. And look, he did a good job directing it, don't get me wrong, but it felt like they were like, okay, you're a director that is new, you've got some crazy wild ideas, we want to bring this Evil Dead movie to a bigger, more modern audience. We need your hand to make it Evil Dead, but more modernized, more sophisticated, so to speak. And he did his job well, to a certain aspect, I guess, if you're trying to, bring it into the 20th century and shit. I mean, sure, why not, man? But all I saw in that movie was the cabin, I saw the chainsaw, I saw the book, I saw certain aspects of what Evil Dead was, but I never felt that it strayed outside of just the average, everyday Evil Dead norms. Even going down to the fact that it's nice to have a female heroine. I enjoy kick-ass females, trust me. I really do, man. But it kind of felt like they were just trying to make them a modern-day Ash, just in a different form. And I never really got into that. I'm like, yeah, you can try, but Ash is Ash. And you're just trying to plant another personality onto a different actor or actress, just a little bit more serious. And I think that's the ultimate problem here. Sam Raimi is a filmmaker unto himself, man. And he was a visionary at a time when horror was really going through some unique changes and was really revolutionizing itself in a big bad way. And he came in and really just stirred the pot in a big bad way, man. And made something incredibly original, incredibly tense and terrifying and in your face, and it blew people away. And I kind of feel like these new Evil Dead movies don't really do that. They're just the same old, but adding a little bit of modern day technology and flavor to the mix. And if I want to see Evil Dead, I'm just going to go and see the older movies. Even in a movie like Army of Darkness, when it got all slapstick and silly, Sam Raimi was still able to give you that Evil Dead vibe with those really great Evil Dead moments and the filmmaking style. He was still able to give it that Evil Dead feel, man. These movies just don't have it, and these directors just feel like they're Sam Raimi light. And I really want a director to come in and just overhaul the Evil Dead world, man. Bring it, yes, to a modern day audience, but bring the horror and comedy to the insanity levels that we got all the way back in the day. But reinvent it, man. Make it your own thing. And these filmmakers just aren't doing it, man. I appreciate Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell still being on board and still putting their influence and their thoughts and ideas into it, but I kind of feel like maybe that's the thing that's kind of holding it back in a way, is the fact that the older generation is still really there to try and hold on to what Evil Dead was, and maybe we need to just reinvent it completely. I know that would piss fans off. I know that they would revolt like a motherfucker, but I would at least appreciate the fact that it was a whole new thing, that a filmmaker would be bold enough to just turn it on its head rather than make the same thing over and over again, just slightly skewed. You know what I'm saying, man? And so I appreciate more Evil Dead in the world. Trust me, I do, man. But being an old school Evil Dead fan, being an old school Sam Raimi lover, Bruce Campbell fanboy, I just don't feel Evil Dead in these movies. And for me, it just feels been there, done that, and done better beforehand. And I just leave the movie theater watching these films kind of empty. And I'm like, it was done way better back in the day. And yeah, the effort's appreciated. Yeah, it's cool to see people dying by these crazy creatures' hands and chainsaws and massacres and shit. It's fine, but it's the same thing for a lot of these franchises. It's not just Evil Dead, man. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's Halloween, and it's Friday the 13th, and it's Hellraiser, and it's all this shit, man. And I just kind of feel like we're spinning our wheels here at this point, and if we're not going to reinvent it and really make something outside the box, then can we just move on, please? Because it's kind of getting stale at this point, and I need a breath of fresh air, and movies like this are just not that anymore, man. Look, I get it why people like it, I understand it, I appreciate it, but for me, what made Evil Dead so amazing was that it was something that I had never seen before. It was something so out there, and nowadays, you can't really say the same for Evil Dead now that you could way back in the day. Just saying, man. If I'm wrong, hey, I respect it, I appreciate it, but just my opinion, man. I love Evil Dead, but I love old school Evil Dead. And new school just can't compete. Prove me wrong. Just saying, man. Prove me wrong indeed. Deadites are cool, but I like the old school kind. I do indeed, man. But hey, regardless of whether I like new school or old school, I definitely like the physical media appreciation. Oh, you bet your ass I do. Not bad for good old physical media love. I definitely dig it. Let's head out. Isn't it nice to live in a world where you can go to your retail location like Target and get the latest physical media love? Cherish it now, because next week they might not have shit. I'm just speaking the truth. Don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but hey, with retail locations, sometimes even with Target, hey, you never know what the fuck's gonna happen week to week, so don't take it for granted, just saying. Okay, but this week, they definitely had the physical media goodies, and it was definitely in a plentiful supply. Oh, it absolutely was, man. Not half bad for the goodies. Pretty good, solid, new release appreciation, dare I say. And when Target always has a good crop, it always makes me a very happy physical media boy. And I know it does for you as well. Ooh, at least I hope so. Not bad for good old Target. They were definitely doing their due diligence. And, well, it can't be beat. It definitely can't. But we've seen the goodies here. We've seen them at Walmart. But how about we go to the next location where hopefully more media is awaiting?
All right, everybody. We are at our third location, the second Walmart. I'm going to go in and check out if there's any interesting indie titles we're showing off. If there is, I'll bring it back to Film Fan 108 HQ and show it off to each and every one of you. But before I do that, I got to talk about a trailer with you guys. And, you know, sometimes I continue to be haunted by those old school Chuck E. Cheese animatronics coming back to haunt my ass. And we're one step closer with Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, yeah. It's coming in October to haunt all of your loving nightmares, hopefully. Well, it's interesting because Five Nights at Freddy's is a huge, and I mean huge property. It is incredibly successful with so many games and books and comic books and toys. It's massive. And to be fair, I never once got into any of that stuff. Seriously, like the craze of Five Nights at Freddy's really passed me by. I wasn't really a gamer at that point, and the nostalgia of Chuck E. Cheese's wasn't really a thing for me, so that never really got to me. It kind of completely passed me by, and it's not until recently, within the last few years, where I really have gotten to find out about the Five Nights at Freddy's phenomenon and the whole idea of this kiddie plays and the animatronics coming to life and attacking people. That's a great fucking concept, man. And so I'm like, dude, where the hell have I been? Man, so it kind of really intrigues me now. And the interesting thing about this, though, is that there's other movies that have kind of taken advantage of this. I remember when Willy's Wonderland came out and everybody was like, oh, this is a really cool concept. It's really taking the Five Nights at Freddy's idea and spinning it into its own thing. And the same with the Banana Splits movie. Everybody was saying the same idea with that. And so I kind of feel like it's been done now a few times. Hasn't exactly taken advantage of their own premise, their own ideas. Other people have basically taken the ball and ran with it. And so a movie idea is really cool, but other people have beat them to the punch. But that being said, Five Nights at Freddy's is such a popular entity that even if other people have basically taken the idea and ran with it, I don't think people are tired of the concept neither. So I think a lot of people are looking forward to this, and I think a lot of people are ready for this, man. I mean, they saw Willy's Wonderland, they saw the Banana Splits movie, and everybody's pretty much like, okay, that's cool, but where's the Five Nights at Freddy's adaptation? And now we're finally getting it, man. And I gotta admit, just from the trailer, it looks fun, it looks wild, it looks weird, it looks bonkers, and I'm on board with it, man. I like the ideas. I like the terrorizing of the kids. I like the design of the animatronics. I think it looks kind of quirky and fun and a nice little thrill ride, man. And for me, I have a fear of this. I have a fear of things coming to life and attacking me. There's some weird reason behind it. So, a couple of instances just to let you guys know. I was at an old school department store, and there was this guy that was in a coffin. It looked fake. The guy looked so real, man. And what ended up happening was I thought it was just a fake Dracula. And what ended up going down is that I was with my mother in the aisles, and one aisle I passed by, I noticed that the Dracula wasn't there anymore. Like, seriously, the Dracula was not even a thing. And so I was like, where is the Dracula? And lo and behold, the Dracula came to life and was literally stalking my mother right in front of me. And I thought, oh my God, this Dracula is trying to suck my mother's blood, dude. And I was fucking freaking out, man, as a kid. Or even one Halloween when my mother and father had decorated the inside of the house with like all the fake spider webs and all the fake spiders, I started seeing real spiders. And I thought, oh my God, the fake spiders came to life. And oh my God, they're turning real. They're going to attack me. And it was just the crazy phobia that I had, man. And even at Chuck E. Cheese, you know, you see the creepy dolls and you see them moving around and shit. And there's a moment where one kind of looks at you and you're like, dude, are they alive? Like, there's a moment where you tend to think that, dude. So, you know what? This is a phobia that I've had for a long time, man. And it's movies like Willy's Wonderland that has taken advantage of it. Banana Splits, and truth be told, now Five Nights at Freddy's. Look, it's a great concept. It's a great idea. The movie looks fun. Are they a little late to the game? Yeah, they kind of are. But that being said, I think that nostalgia is big nowadays. And if you could take advantage of that, people remembering the old school days of Chuck E. Cheese and some of those old kids' party places, I think they can really take that and really spin it into something really great. They've done it with all other things like games and books. Why not finally translate it to movies? Do you think it's going to work? Do you think this thing could be successful? Or are they too little too late? Should they have taken advantage of it earlier and now, well, they're just shit out of luck? I think they'll be successful, but what do you think? You're more fans than I am, so you tell me. But I'm scared, yeah, but definitely looking forward to it. Definitely let me know, guys. As far as the second Walmart, well, I'm not sure they're gonna have anything, to be fair. Lord knows they haven't as of late, but, well, I'm the ever hopeful optimist. So how about we go in and maybe they'll have something good. All right, everybody. We are in the good old second Walmart, and oh, it's been good for media. You bet your ass it has. The first stores have had some good stuff, so you know what I want now. I want my indie weirdness. I want the indie oddities. I want the indie bizarro, because it's been so goddamn long since I've had it. I'm jonesing in a big bad way, baby. I need my fix. And so I'm hoping, can we have it this week? Can we finally get our just desserts? And I'm going to be honest with you, we ain't got shit. Damn, yet again, nothing, nada, no how, zippo, zilch. A big fat zero indeed, guys. Nothing worth talking about. Everything that we've seen, and nothing that stands out from the crowd. And that's a goddamn shame, man. It really honestly is, dude. I was hoping for it. I was praying for it. And I'm still the ever-loving optimist that hopes that one day the second Walmart will get its goddamn act together and we can see some good media. But until that day happens, I guess we're continuing to just sit in the crapper. Yeah, well, when one Walmart is succeeding, another one is obviously staying stagnant. But hey, that doesn't happen for very long. Eventually, Walmart gets their act together. They will. I'm hoping and praying. Physical media gods, somebody, are you hearing me? I hope they are, because man, do I need their help in a big bad way. I truly do. So we're yet again leaving the second Walmart with zippity doo dah. But hey, maybe next week, well, we'll hope for that. Pray to the physical media gods, will ya? Because I can't be the only one. I really can. But we leave here empty-handed, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the journey will be rough, because we're going to at least one more store. Hopefully the physical media will be plentiful. Let's hope. All right, everybody, we are at our fourth and final location, and when it's this good, and we've been treated to a lot of great goodies at a lot of the different stores, sometimes we save the best for last. And really, all you need to do is go to your local bookstore, and you may just find exactly what you need. How many times is anybody saying that shit? I doubt not many. I doubt not many at all, but hey, nowadays, you never know. And I'll take what I can get when we go to none other than, oh, you know where we are, man. And that is none other than, yes, a good old Barnes & Nobles. B&N back for more, hopefully good physical media hijinks. Well, let's hope indeed. You never know what they have, good, bad, and different, but I think this week will be pretty goddamn solid. How about we go in and check it all out? All right, everybody, we are in that good old B&M Barnes & Nobles, but to be fair, it wouldn't be worth it unless we have some physical media we're checking out. And oh, I'm already seeing it, baby, front and center, right in your eyeballs, because if we don't got Pandora, the visual spectacle, the wonder right in front of your face, then what's the point? Oh, I bet your ass in Avatar: The Way of Water, the 4K Blu-ray Digital for
$45. I never said that the experience was cheap, folks. I never did indeed, man. Bam, they got that. They got the regular Blu-ray digital for $37, slightly less. Another 4K cover for $45 as well. Wait a minute. What? Seriously? Holy shit. They have the 3D. Oh my god. The Blu-ray 3D, Blu-ray digital for $45 as well. I mean, it's not 4K, but dude, that is awesome that they have the 3D edition of this. Holy shit. Wow, man. Nobody else, as far as I know, is actually carrying the 3D in the stores. Dude, this is sweet, man. And a different cover as well on top of that. Oh, that ain't half bad, dude. God, when was the last time that you saw a brand new release 3D edition in stores? Shit, man, it's been a long ass time for me. I can't even remember when. Oh my god. That is awesome, dude. Wow, that is pretty goddamn sweet, man. Can't say that I see new release 3D editions all the time, so you gotta cherish it when you can, dude. And I'm sure for Avatar, this will be pretty goddamn sweet, man. Wow, that is actually kind of killer, man. That's kind of cool. Not bad at all, man. And well, the movie ain't half bad either. It ain't, man. It's pretty goddamn solid, all things considered. And me being the skeptical person, me being the absolute, I don't know if it's gonna be that good. The first one wasn't all that great. I was proven wrong in a big bad way, and thank God for that, man. Because if I had to spend 3 hours with a movie that I kind of didn't like, that was going to be a long ass time, man. But the 3 hours breezed by like a mofo, man, so fast. Before I knew it, it was over, and I was like, man, I could have watched it for another hour. How crazy is that, dude? But look, I've given James Cameron his praise, and the movie its praise. And if you have been one of the mighty fanboys or fangirls that has stuck with this franchise for so many years, defended it and couldn't wait for the sequels, now your devotion is actually starting to pay off. And God bless you for that, man. Sometimes fandom can be a fickle bitch, okay? Let's be honest, man, because there is certain times where you're questioning your loyalty and you're sitting there saying to yourself, I don't know if this is ultimately worth it at the end of the day. And then finally, when the next movie is released and it's actually good, amazing, you kind of feel vindicated. You do, just a little bit, man. And trust me, we are going to get more Avatar love throughout the years. There's going to be a third film. There's going to be a fourth film. There's going to be a fifth film, okay? Avatar coming out of your ears for many, many years to come. I think the next one's coming out in 2025, somewhere around there. It's supposed to be coming out. I know James Cameron is kind of finishing up with all the little intricacies that he's got to do for the third film, but he's ready, he's willing to dive into more Avatar love and give this man credit. As I said earlier, he created a whole universe, a whole world unto itself, man. And that's not an easy thing to do, to actually create the creatures and the language and the actual planet and all the different names and the physiologies and all that shit, dude. That takes a lot of fucking effort. That takes a lot of brain power to fucking do, and James Cameron pulled it off, man. I give him a lot of credit for that, and I give a lot of credit to the fanboys and the fangirls who have really appreciated it over the years. And hey, man, your loyalty, your devotion, I was questioning it. I was like, dude, is this really, you're gonna be seriously hanging your hat on Avatar of all things? But if you love something, you love something. Despite the haters, despite what other people think, you do you. Lord knows there's a lot of things that I like that I think people don't really understand, and it doesn't make much sense. But you know what? Hey, fuck them. Okay? Fuck them indeed. Because if they don't get it, if they don't love it, then, well, they're kind of missing out. I'm just saying, man. And I'm curious to see where this series goes, where this franchise goes now. Because, look, at the end of the day, Disney owns this now. It was a Fox property. Disney owns Fox, so now Disney owns Avatar. And they're happy to be in the Avatar business. It's making so much fucking money. The merchandise and the movies, and I'm sure the physical media copies as well, will sell big too. So they're very happy to be in business with James Cameron, okay? Even to the point where I heard a rumor that when Avatar 3 eventually gets released, and it will go on streaming, I heard that James Cameron is putting out like a 6-hour version of Avatar 3 that's going to be exclusive to Disney Plus. I kind of heard that somewhere, and I was like, my God, a 6-hour version? And I'm like, wow, this guy, he has so much story to tell in this world that he's got to truncate it for the theater experience, but he's willing to really open this up and make this huge epic blockbuster of a film even longer, man. And it kind of reminds me of the old school Lord of the Rings Blu-rays, right? The extended editions, right? You're like, oh my God, the movie's long as it is, and we're making it longer. But I kind of like the extended editions, though. They add more depth to the characters and the world, and so 6 hours seems like a lot of commitment, but at the end of the day, maybe it'll be worth it. I'd like to think it will be, man. And who knows when Avatar is going to be ending, right? Because there's a part of me that says after Avatar 5 is all said and done, James Cameron is going to walk off into the sunset. He's happy. He's finished everything that he needs to. But will Disney continue this? Will they go into Avatar 6, 7, 8, 9? Will there be spin-offs? I mean, this is Disney we're talking about. They just don't necessarily walk away from franchises. I mean, God knows we're probably going to be getting another Toy Story, and Lord knows how many other sequels to films that don't really need it, live action, remakes, you name it. So I think they're happy to be in business now. How long will they keep this cash cow going? It's tough to say, but for the time being, Avatar is stronger than ever, man. Stronger than it has ever been. And James Cameron is as confident as he'll ever be. And this world is rich and full of unique intricacies and creatures and characters that, I'm going to be honest, I can't wait to dive into again. Like, I was hesitant with the second film, but I'm all in on the third film. Like, I want to see where this goes. I heard they're going to deal with, like, the fire culture and a different tribe of people on the Pandora planet, and I'm like, okay, I'm there. You've turned me around, okay? I was a skeptic. I'll fully own that, okay? I'll own it. I will, dude. But now I'm on board, man. I want to see where this Avatar world goes. I want to see what is inside of James Cameron's head and this epic story that he's telling. There is certain moments where there is stupidity from certain characters and things where you're like, okay, that was kind of predictable. I could see that coming a mile away. Or, God, why did you have to make that decision, dude? Seriously, do we really need this person to stick around for umpteenth more films when we should probably do something more unique and interesting? I could see where James Cameron sometimes doesn't always do the most unique thing when it comes to certain storytelling ideas, but I think the visuals and I think the overall characters really make up for that, man. Avatar is a wondrous world with wondrous storytelling opportunities, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. You as a fanboy, you as a lover of the Pandora world, you're vindicated. You truly are. And my apologies for ever doubting James Cameron, forever doubting Avatar, forever doubting the Na'vi. I'll never do it again. I never will, man. You get the new characters of Pandora, the challenges of Pandora's waters, bringing Pandora to life, There's returning characters and so much more. On top of that, if you are so lucky to want to pick up the 3D copy, well, I guess you could get it through Amazon, but if you have a local Barnes & Nobles, maybe give them a chance, because who'd have thought, right? Who'd have thought indeed, man? Pandora's alive and well. Let's hope that it will be for many, many years to come. Well, you certainly don't need to be fit and trim to be boxing. Big George Foreman proves it. Oh, it does indeed. The Blu-ray digital for $38.99. For a little bit of boxing biopic goodness. Yeah, price ain't half bad. Not half bad indeed. And actually, that gives me hope, because if I don't have to really work out all that much, then I guess the dad bod status can continue. I guess it can indeed, man. You know, look, this movie isn't necessarily bad, but it's not exactly great either. And for me, I could take a very average boxing movie, man. I'm fine with that. But today's audiences, they need something a little bit more exciting. They need something a little bit more exhilarating to watch, man. I mean, we're so used to the Rocky movies, we're so used to the Creed universe at this point, and the spectacular boxing matches, and the gritty and in-your-face punches and everything like that, that it really feels like you're having an experience of being in the boxing ring, man. I mean, those movies are unique for what they are, and this movie can't really compete with that. And I think that's the ultimate problem, man, is that you want to be able to tell this person's life story, but at the end of the day, what you also want to do is make it exciting for the people in the movie theater, so that they feel like they're not falling asleep while watching it. Which does happen from time to time. And Big George Foreman's life is fascinating, yes, but they didn't really do much exciting. You have great boxing matches with Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, and you have these legends of the sport of boxing, and yet it all just comes across as very mundane and average, and they just don't ever really do much to keep your interest in it. And the problem is that they're so haphazard in his life. Everything is just so matter of fact, and everything is so easily digestible. They're going on to the next thing just when you're getting used to the previous thing. I mean, if you're going to focus on the religious stuff, focus on the religious stuff. If you're going to focus on the boxing stuff, focus on the boxing stuff. If you're going to focus on his relationship with his family, focus on the relationship with the family. But focus on something, goddammit. This thing just moves along leisurely and doesn't give you real focus on his life or his career at all, in any context, in any capacity, in any way. And it just sucks, dude, because, like I said, the guy has a fascinating life, and there's some really great real-life boxing biopics that are fucking phenomenal. But audiences have been there and done that and seen it all, and they need something a little bit more to be engaged with. It's the same thing when I was talking about I Wanna Dance with Somebody, right? Whitney Houston led a extremely glamorous but very complicated life, and her story is very fascinating. But this movie, yes, it dives into her life more than something like Big George Foreman does for Foreman's career, but it still doesn't really highlight much in a spectacular way. They leave a lot of the controversies at the door, and on top of that, the fact that they cast somebody that doesn't even look like Whitney Houston turns into a little bit of a buzzkill, okay? And it's the same thing with this, right? You need to do something that is going to stand out amongst the crowd, right? I mean, not too long ago, Creed 3 came out, and people loved it with the boxing matches and the drama between the two friends who are like brothers. That's really dynamic. They thought it was exciting. If you compare Big George Foreman to Creed 3, it's not even a comparison. Creed 3 is better. And it kind of sucks because this should be a phenomenal boxing movie with a phenomenal life and career of a guy that had to deal with a lot of issues, both personally and professionally, and they just don't do enough with it to you to really care. And again, it's the same thing with this. Again, there's great musical biopics out there, things that have really done some outside the box ideas to really make it more entertaining, and this movie didn't do it, and it's the same thing with this, dude. So it kind of sucks at the end of the day because I like a good biopic. I like diving into a person's life and career and learning more about them, but this movie just really didn't do it, and it's unfortunate, man. There's a lot of great boxing movies out there, great boxing biopics, but Big George Foreman was a big old letdown. Just saying, man. I mean, that being said, you get some decent special features, a look at the making of the film, Foreman and Ali, deleted scenes. I mean, you get some interesting stuff, all things considered, but it's all for now, and the movie's just kind of okay, average at best, man. Big George Foreman deserves a hell of a lot better of a biopic, and this one just didn't do it for him. Well, hey, better luck next time, let's hope, because if this is all George Foreman gets, that's pretty damn sad.
Now, what do we have here? Look at this. You know, when I was talking about Big George Foreman, I couldn't help but notice. I was like, what in the world is this bad boy? Arrow Video Love. Ooh, look at this box set, man. This is great. What is this? Enter the video store, Empire of Screams. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so cool. Whoa. The Dungeon Master, Dolls, Cellar Dweller, Arena, Robot Jocks. Oh, so this is like the old school Empire days, full moon stuff. Oh, that is cool. Look at that. God damn, man, that's fucking awesome. Whoa. How much is this? $100. Wow. Well, you get a lot of stuff, man. You get 5 discs and the packaging and all kinds of special features, the limited edition content. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here, man. This is actually pretty freaking amazing, dude. Oh, man. I love the old school Empire days, man. 80s. God, you gotta love that shit. Look at that. Oh, that's awesome, man. You know, I can't say that I love everything that Arrow puts out, but some of these box sets are fucking gorgeous, man. And the packaging is cool as shit. Oh, man, it is tempting, man. I don't know about $100 tempting necessarily, but you get a lot for your money's worth. It's only 20% off, but I know Arrow Video occasionally does a 50% off Barnes & Noble's thing, so maybe in the future, Lord knows, I'm buying so much stuff already, guys, so thank God it's a lot of money, or I might not be able to resist it. Just saying, man. In fact, they continue to have a lot of Arrow goodness, man. True Romance, 12 Monkeys, The Vagrant, Waterworld, that train wreck of a movie in 4K, man. RoboCop, Time Bandits. Man, I love me some Arrow. Lord knows there's some things I want to pick up, so maybe in the future if there's a 50% off sale, that might definitely get me to open up the wallet a little bit more. It just might. And releases like this prove why Arrow Video is still among the titans. Poor Tom Cruise. He has to pick between loving Cameron Diaz and loving Penelope Cruz. I feel so sorry for the guy. Oh man, in Vanilla Sky, the 4K Blu-ray digital for $29. Not bad for the 4K Tom Cruise appreciation, baby. Not bad. And god damn, do I love me some Vanilla Sky, dude. I think Vanilla Sky is fucking awesome, man. It is one wild and crazy mind bender of a flick, and you wouldn't really think that just skimming the surface of the movie, right? The fact that
Cameron Diaz really likes him, but he really likes Penelope Cruz, and it's sort of this kind of dramatic romance movie, and then it just takes a wild turn, and I won't exactly say what happens because you gotta experience it for yourself, man. But if you have, you know what I'm talking about, man. It goes into some wild territories, unexpected things that you never even saw coming, unpredictable. I really like this, man, and it's incredibly creative and imaginative and definitely lets the viewers in on the madness, man. And in some ways you walk away thinking to yourself, what really happened? And it's all up to your own interpretation. It's fantastic, man. I love this shit so much. And Tom Cruise is phenomenal in this movie. Cameron Crowe, who directed it, is brilliant, man. I thought the performances were phenomenal. Kurt Russell is amazing in this movie as well. It definitely bends your mind in some unique ways, man, that you just, again, do not see coming. But the storytelling is so well done, and Tom Cruise gives it his all, like he does for most movies, man. It's not action-packed like Mission Impossible, but it's dramatic, it's a little bit romantic, it's a little bit messed up. In some very fascinating ways, man. Definitely give it a shot if you haven't, because I'll tell you something, as far as Tom Cruise movies go, you ain't ever seen anything like this. Just saying, man. It's quite unique for what it is, man. And a lot of special features here. Yo, commentaries and alternate endings and deleted scenes and camera tests and interviews, so much good stuff, man. I gotta tell ya, I've always been wanting to buy Vanilla Sky because I love the movie so much, man. I think it's highly underrated in Tom Cruise's filmography, and there's been so many different releases of it, but I might just have to get the 4K. I might just have to. Can't say I'm willing to buy all the Tom Cruise movies, but this one has a special place because, man, I thought I was entering into one movie and I got something totally different, and I was damn glad to be proven wrong. This movie is one wild ride worth experiencing. Hide under the bed, close your eyes, run for your life. Doesn't matter what you do, because something's coming after you. Well, that's if you can see what the fuck it is. In Skinamarink, in this house, there's something. God knows what the hell it is, but when you figure it out, can you let me know? The Shudder Original, the Blu-ray for $22. Not bad for a little bit of Shudder love. That's if you can make sense of it. Shit. Okay, well, I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime, and I watched it with my girlfriend, of all people. Even though she doesn't like horror movies, I kind of made her. I kind of did, man. And I really wanted to watch this thing. And the reason why I wanted to watch it is because I heard all kinds of varying opinions. Some that really praised it, and others that thought it was a downright dumpster fire, a turd burger. And I was like, oh shit. So what the fuck is this, man? Is this really as good as people are saying? Or is it really as bad as people are kind of telling people to stay away from? So I don't know, dude. I mean, this one critic from Eye for Film says astonishing. Films like this come along once in a generation. Are they right? Or are they terribly wrong? Well, that's the thing, right? I guess it all bases on your own varying opinions on the horror genre and what you like and what you don't like. I mean, basically, from what I gathered from the movie, it's about these kids that are alone in the house. For some reason, the parents have disappeared. Something is stalking them and preying on them. Some entity, ghostly figure within the house has turned off all the electricity, and slowly but surely they're getting trapped by this figure and being manipulated, and all of the evil happenings that kind of go on throughout the film. Maybe, kind of, sort of. I mean, I'm doing my best here, folks, because this movie doesn't give you a whole hell of a lot. There's a lot of things that are kind of happening, but you can't make sense of it heads or tails. And that's really the problem with the movie, right? I mean, most of the flick is just moments where you're staring at walls and floors and kids' feet. And that's all you get. Occasionally the TV and some static, maybe some of their toys kind of doing some weird shit, and that's all you're really getting, man. I mean, a lot of it is just basic atmosphere and creepiness and moments of silence where you kind of hear little things in a house, like a door creaking or the TV turning on or a light switch going off or something like that, where the sound will kind of jolt you, right? It'll be like, oh shit. And it's just the most simplest thing. And then occasionally you may get a little bit of a shadowy figure in the dark. You can't quite make heads or tails of what it is or who it is. You just know it's fucking creepy as shit. And then there's moments where you do see something, but when you do, it's so quick that it's gone within a second or two. I mean, it just literally is like so fucking fast. We're like, what the fuck was that? You're like, I didn't even have time to be scared, man. I mean, Jesus, dude. It's kind of a unique experiment of a movie. I don't know if it entirely works. I mean, there's moments in this film that does work. Genuine creepiness and genuine stillness in the movie, and then a loud noise or a clang or like a music sting happens, or like you're literally jolted from your seat. You're like, oh shit. I mean, even my girlfriend, there were moments where she was just thinking this was just absolute boring as hell, and then there would be a moment where a sound would happen and she would get absolutely like jolted in an instant, and her heart would like go fast. And that's kind of what this movie is. It's just one giant jump scare to the next, and there's nothing much other than that, dude. And you're just waiting around for something interesting to happen for the longest time, and when it does, you're kind of taken aback. You're like, oh wow, something cool has kind of happened. Maybe this is going to kind of get interesting. And then it becomes more mundane and more boring, and you're just waiting for the next interesting or jolty moment to happen. And then when you do, ooh, I got my blood pumping. And then you fall back asleep. And that's what this fucking movie is, dude. And I couldn't believe it, man. I mean, this movie is less than 2 hours long. It's about an hour and a half, hour 40, and I gotta admit, guys, it felt like 3 fucking hours, dude. And truth be told, when Avatar feels like a better experience and you feel like 3 hours go by in an instant, and you feel like this is over 3 hours long, that's a fucking problem, dude. That's bad. That's really bad, man. And this movie just is one hodgepodge of ideas after another. And I ended up reading the synopsis, the plot line, to my girlfriend after we finished the movie. And it was like this crazy weird entity that makes the parents disappear and controls the kids, and one of the kids' eyeballs is being plucked out and he's bringing them to hell or some shit. And I'm like, kind of looking at my girlfriend, and she's looking at me, and she's like, I got none of that from this fucking movie. I'm like, you think I did? I sure as shit didn't either, man. It was this whole weird, portal to hell or fucking shit. It was weird. And I'm like, man, I got none of that from this fucking movie. And it's an interesting experiment in the idea of silence and how little noises can really make you jump or make you scared simply by the sound of it. I mean, it's a fascinating little idea that would have made for a good short film, right? There's a lot of great little horror short films on YouTube, if you've ever looked them up. It's actually quite fascinating, and this would have worked as maybe a 20 or 30 minute short film, right? Simple, easy, quick, get in, get out, tell a concise tale and move on, right? It would have been cool. But turning it into full length, it feels like they're just stretching themselves really fucking thin. On top of that, you don't really ever get to see the kids. Like I'm telling you, all you see is their arms and maybe their feet. You don't really get to see them. You don't really get to know them. You don't get to really know the parents or anything for that fucking matter, dude. They're just trapped in this fucking house. It's completely fucking dark. You barely get to see any fucking thing. Maybe there's a shadow here there that looks like a kind of person that has no face. Is that the dead mother? Is that the creepy entity? I don't fucking know. All I know is it's weird as shit. That's all I fucking know, dude. I don't know, man. Like, it's atmospheric. It has weird, creepy moments that kind of are effective at times, but I just kind of finished the film shrugging my shoulders. I'm like, I don't hate the movie. It's just boring. And I just was sitting there feeling like I could watch another 3 fucking hours of Avatar and it would breeze by faster than this shit is. And that's just a goddamn shame, man. It didn't anger me. I'm just kind of like, whatever, dude. I mean, if you love this movie, God bless your heart and soul. If you think it's the best thing since sliced bread, have at it, dude. But I just was baffled by this movie. I'm like, what's going on? Why are the kids doing what they're doing? What is the entity doing? Who's exactly holding the fucking camera? Like, what's happening here, dude? It's a real conundrum of a movie that really makes no fucking sense, man. I'm glad I watched it for the sake of watching it, but it really just kind of is a big fat nothing burger, and that's all it really is, dude. It makes no impression on me one way or another. It's just flat and lifeless and just kind of there, which is kind of the worst feeling. At least with a movie that you hate, at least you have some kind of feeling towards it, and you know, you can spit vitriol at it. If you really love something, hell, it makes you feel great. But when it's just there, it just doesn't really leave much of an impression on you. And Skinamarink is kind of one of those things, dude. It just is kind of, that's all I can say, man. I mean, if this is a film that only comes along once in a generation, I'm glad it came along now so that my generation doesn't have to experience this ever again. In fact, I hope most generations don't experience this. If there's another Skinamarink that comes along, maybe it's best to just leave it untouched. Look, I don't know whether it's found footage, I don't know whether it's, a haunted house movie, I don't know what the fuck it is. All I know is that it's pretty goddamn boring. And for horror, man, if you're boring as shit, you can leave your ass at the door. Come get some with the Evil Dead Rile. Yes, the Blu-ray DVD digital for $36. Not bad for a little bit of Deadite appreciation. Sure, why not, baby? Why not indeed? And even though I didn't really love the movie compared to a lot of others out there, it didn't really tickle my fancy per se, I do have to give this movie credit for something, and that is taking the action and the story outside of the cabin, far, far away from it, because at least they did something away from the norm. And I've got to give it at least some credit for at least doing something outside the box, because I think that's the problem that I ultimately had with the remake, which was, because you put it in the cabin, you were contrasting and comparing with the original films, and when you did that, man, it's not even a contest. Like, the original films are so much better, and it just kind of felt like they ham-fisted themselves by putting it solely in the cabin itself, man. And I don't know, it just wasn't as good as the earlier Evil Dead movies. So at least by putting it outside of the cabin, taking it away from that, you give it a different flavor, and that's something to at least appreciate. And I thought to myself, apartment horror can be really effective when done right. I wonder if there's a lot of apartment horror out there, and indeed, there is. Oh, yes, man. I mean, there's the old school standard stuff like The Last Sentinel or the Tenant movies from the 70s, which are phenomenal. But then I thought, well, there's got to be more than just 70s horror, and indeed there is, man. A hell of a lot more, and even a little bit of franchise goodness at that. Yeah, definitely there is, man. Like the original Troll movie. Yes, the John Carl Buechler film, man, which took place in an apartment complex. Yes. Oh, it's so good, man. It's really, really fantastic. Of course, I've got to say, Critters 3. Yes. Oh, Critters 3 is so great. Okay, cheesy as shit for what it's worth, but it's got a soft spot in my heart, man. On top of that, it's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. No lie, man. He's actually in a Critters film. So bad it's good? Sure, why the hell not? I thought it kind of worked, man. Hell, even Poltergeist. Carol Ann gets out of the house and into a high-rise. Oh, indeed she does. I actually really liked what they did with that sequel, that third part in the series, because with the cool effects with like the mirrors and the floor and everything like that, I love how they were able to take that premise and the evil of the Poltergeist series and transport it to an apartment complex and all the complications of that. I thought that was actually really clever, man. I thought that was some cool shit, dude. And so you could do apartment horror rather effectively, even something as recently as Wreck or Wreck 2 that does it really brilliantly as well, man. So apartment horror has its highlights. It definitely does, man. And I think the same in some aspects can be said for this. The idea of being in this really enclosed space and being away from everyone, and how there's nowhere to hide and nowhere to run, and the terror of that, it can be quite special, man. And especially with this, where the Deadites are so gnarly and brutal, and the idea that at any single moment you could get stabbed, you could get bodily fluids put all over you, you name it, man. And just the idea of trying to get away from all that when you're locked into this space where opportunities to escape are few and far between can be really effective. And so I give this movie credit for that. I give it credit for going outside the norm and doing apartment horror, and at times actually doing it rather successfully, dare I say. Apartment horror can be cheesy, can be ridiculous, can be absolutely terrifying, depending on what you're going for, and Evil Dead Rise definitely rose to the occasion in that aspect. I just don't think it's as good as I wanted it to be, and it doesn't really feel like it's doing anything special outside of just the apartment stuff, man. It feels like it's aping off of the more iconic Evil Dead moments with certain iconography, whether it's the chainsaw or certain aspects to the Deadites or certain characters saying certain lines of dialogue, you name it, right? And I just kind of wish that it ended up paving its own path necessarily, and at moments it kind of did, and at other moments it felt like it was just basically being a carbon copy for a carbon copy's sake. Maybe you can't remake Evil Dead without Sam Raimi being at the helm of this. Maybe you can't remake it without Ash there as the ultimate hero. It's tough to say, man, because even Ash vs. Evil Dead, there was moments where I really loved Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I thought it was fucking wild and ridiculous and all kinds of hilarious. I thought it was fucking awesome, man. And then there was moments in that series where I was like, it's not as good as it could be, man. You know, there are certain franchises out there that feel like the premise was so successful in those earlier films, and anything after that kind of felt like they're just taking the concept and making the same movie over and over again, just not doing it half as good as the other times. And this is kind of one of those franchises, man. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a boomer. And I just like the old shit, and that's all I like, man. Maybe. But then again, I'd kind of argue that because I like a lot of new horror. It just depends on how they do it necessarily. Look, Evil Dead Rise is not bad. It's not exceptionally great, but it's not terrible either. It's got some really good moments, but is it Evil Dead for me? No. It's kind of Evil Dead Light, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because still Evil Dead Light is still better than a lot of other horror crap out there, but it'll never reach the heights of Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. It just never really will. No matter how many times you put blood and gore in my face, no matter how many times that you end up revamping the Deadites, nothing will beat Raimi and Campbell. Just speaking the truth. Just speaking the truth indeed, man. I don't even see any special features. No interviews, commentaries, featurettes, trailer, image gallery, nothing. Really? I mean, for a movie that was really successful and fans really dug it, you'd think that they'd give a little something to the people who'll be buying this thing, but apparently not. Oh, so much for Evil Dead love. So much for Evil Dead love indeed. Hey, if you love Evil Dead, then this is more of what you're asking for. Can't say it's the best in the Evil Dead series, but a step above the remake? Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know if that's saying a lot, but hey, for Evil Dead fans, we'll take what we can get. Survival is key in The Covenant. Yes, the Blu-ray DVD digital for $36. Not bad for a little bit of war appreciation, war honor, and honor among men. Ah, yes indeed, man. God damn, did I love this fucking movie. I seriously did, man. And it got me thinking, because now we're actually in a whole new phase of war movies, right? We're still getting movies that are based off of World War II and World War I. I mean, movies like the absolutely exceptional and wonderful All Quiet on the Western Front, baby. Indeed, we are. But I feel like now we're doing different tales, and most of them are based on the Iraq and Afghan war, man. We're now slowly diving into more of those stories and telling more of those tales of heroism and danger. And we're getting a lot more in recent years, man. I mean, movies like Green Zone with Matt Damon, The Hurt Locker with Jeremy Renner, The Outpost, which is a really great one as well. Even a movie like War Dogs with Jonah Hill, which is a really great one as well, which I actually really like, man. And there's other ones too that actually take place in the Afghan-Iraq war, which are just as good, man. Movies that I really like, one with Chris Hemsworth, which is really solid, like 12 Strong, which is a really great movie as well. I really dig this one. Or, of course, one with Bradley Cooper, which is exceptional, which is none other than American Sniper. So actually we're getting a lot of new and unique war movies that are telling new and different tales of a very recent war, and I like that, man. I've always been a fan of war movies. My particular specialty in war movies are World War II, but I love the stuff based on the Vietnam War. But I think I'm really digging a lot of these newer tales that are being told in war movies. And I think you could tell some unique tales. I think we're already getting them. And I think you're going to see a lot more of them over the years. If they're anything like The Covenant, it is so fantastic. And it gives you a whole new perspective on war and the dangers of it, and people on the other side who's helping us, even though the dangers that they face themselves. It's exceptional in every way, man. Whether it's the action, the acting, the directing, of course, it's Guy Ritchie, man. I mean, seriously, he knows how to make a movie, man. He really does. And Jake Gyllenhaal has charisma and badassness for days, dude. He's fucking awesome in this thing, too. So this is a great story worth telling, and I kind of feel like the more movies we get of the Iraq-Afghan war, I think we're going to see some very unique movies in the coming years. I truly feel that we do, man. There is certain ones that will be better than others. I mean, look, as much as I love World War II movies, there is some duds out there, and the same can be said for World War I movies or Vietnam movies, you name it. I mean, hey, look, not everyone's perfect, okay? But that being said, a few bad apples don't ruin it for everybody, especially when it comes to war movies, because when you're good, you're that damn good. And The Covenant proves that even though you may have seen so many war movies in the past, Lord knows I have, you can still spice it up and twist it around to make a movie that not only makes you care about the characters, care about the situation, but still gives you unique thrills and action that you've never seen before. And I'm kind of digging where the new war movies are going. If we get more like this, consider me a huge fan, man. Oh god, another disc that doesn't have any special features? What the seriously? No commentary by Guy Ritchie, no interviews with Jake Gyllenhaal, not even a trailer? Like, what? Oh man, dude, god, this movie deserves so much better, man. Really need some great features highlighting the dangers of Afghanistan and these interpreters that put their lives on the line. And the fact that, true story, these interpreters who helped us out, life has not been easy for them. When we left Afghanistan, and by the way, we needed to get out of Afghanistan. I mean, there was no doubt about it, man. If we had stayed there another 10 or 20 years, it would have been the same situation, dude. Nothing would have changed, man. I mean, we were just spinning our wheels there for the longest time. I understand why we got in, but it was time to get out. And unfortunately, a lot of the people who helped us didn't get out in time. They stayed behind. And a lot of those people are either A, still in hiding, or B, they're dead as a dog, man. They are just absolute dust at this point because the Taliban came in and took back over the region, and anybody who helped the Americans, they're hunting them and they're killing them and they're basically making an example out of them. And it's unfortunate that this is the cost of war. This is the price that these people have to pay, and it's ugly, and it's wrong, and it's brutal. But unfortunately, that's what happens, man. We come into a war, we come into these foreign countries, and when we get out, I don't know if we leave these places as good as we left them. I mean, look at the case of Vietnam, man. I mean, we left an indelible print on that country that is scarring to that area and may never recover. And it's the same thing with Afghanistan. I mean, look, I get it. Evil needs to be vanquished, and America is good at getting that done. But once we do that, and then we leave, are we leaving it in a better place than we did before? And it's movies like The Covenant that really answer that question. It's not an easy one to do, but it's one that we have to. And these movies really spotlight that in a great way. War movies can spotlight the horrors of war. They can spotlight the brutality and the risks that you take, but they can also spotlight the heroism and the tales of these heroes that really put their lives on the line despite all of the things that say don't do that. We need to be mindful of the world, and we need to be mindful of the spoils of war and the dangers and the repercussions of it. And The Covenant, when it comes to that, is truly special. Evil doctors, vindictive mothers, and impregnating uteruses. I never thought that I'd see it in polite society. I never thought indeed, man. Look, I'm just gonna say it. The movie has charm, okay? It's not a bad movie. I like some of the quirkiness with the younger sister and her friends and the complications in high school. Like, all that's cool, man. If it wasn't in this weirder flick about this mad scientist and a clone of his mother and shit, dude. I mean, literally, Herbert West from Reanimator is like, brah, really? Like, I wouldn't even do that shit. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm reanimating dead folks, but impregnating uteruses, I think that's a bit much. Like, seriously, dude. I give them credit for really going for it and the balls that they had with this, but oh man, it's kind of half and half. I like some of the quirkiness, and it definitely feels like something that has shades of John Hughes, but then it completely turns. I'm like, John Hughes would never be doing this shit, dude. It's got its moments. Perfect, not even close. Just probably watch The Breakfast Club. You still get all the high school teenager hijinks and less of the evil doctors and clone fetuses. You'll thank me later. You will indeed, man. But then, oh, well, geez, more Walking Dead? I think I'll go back to the crazy uteruses. Nah, I'm good. Oh, jeez. Tales of the Walking Dead. Oh, Undead World. Yeah, you can bet your ass on that one. Oh, God. More? Jeez, I thought we were getting over this shit. Well, I say we're getting over it, but we're getting like, what, 3 or 4 more fucking spin-offs? Jesus, man. This thing will never die. It'll remain undead like the fucking zombies. Shit. Jesus, man. In the months and years following the apocalypse, Tales of the Walking Dead follows the unique lives of new and familiar characters. Oh, so it's different. So it's kind of like a horror anthology, but more for The Walking Dead than anything else. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I am so far behind on The Walking Dead. I watched the first 6 or 7 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead, and I've never revisited it since. I watched, I think, first 7 or 8 seasons of the regular Walking Dead, and then I haven't revisited that since. However, I am kind of jonesing to want to get back into it. Maybe start it back up. Maybe. I'm considering it, man, but I don't know, dude. Like, it just feels watered down at this point. There's been so many spin-offs already that have kind of been somewhat successful, but not really, and then we're doing so much different stuff with Negan and Maggie and Daryl, and now we're getting Rick and Michonne back into it again, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, just end it, dude. But look, as long as a franchise is successful, I've said it many, many times before, they're just gonna continue to basically milk this thing until it's bone fucking dry. And The Walking Dead is proving that sad reality. It truly is, dude. Is this good? Is this bad? I don't know if I'm really ever gonna kind of watch it, because Lord knows if I get back into The Walking Dead, I've got a hell of a lot of heavy lifting to do before I ever get to this. If it's worth it, let me know, but something tells me a Walking Dead horror anthology is not something I'm all that interested in. I like horror anthologies. I like tall tales of creepy and horrific goodness. But for The Walking Dead, I think I'll pass. The Griswolds are going on vacation. National Lampoon's Vacation. Yeah, look at this. The 4K for $34. Oh, that is fantastic. And it's a vacation that they'll never soon forget. Oh, man. Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, John Candy, Anthony Michael Hall. My God, this is a great fucking comedy. God, I love this. Everything's planned, packed, and about to go hilariously wrong. Oh, you bet your ass it is. Oh, dude. This is great. This is awesome. Oh, I love this so goddamn much, dude. Oh, this is amazing, man. You know what, look. There is certain comedies that are just fun for the sake of being fun. And this is one of those, dude, where everyone can relate to this, right? You go on a family vacation, you pack the car, and you're going to your destination, and everything goes, well, wrong. not exactly quite sure hilarious, but when you look back on it, you kind of laugh, right? Yeah, at the time, not so much, but, you know, fun times with the family, right? Yeah, something like that. And National Lampoon's Vacation definitely takes advantage of that. It is so wild and crazy and ridiculous and over the top, and I love every single second of it. The characters and the situations. And Chevy Chase is so good in these movies, man. I love him in these vacation flicks. He's sort of like the lovable idiot. And he plays it fantastically, man. I love the unassuming wife who just loves her husband despite everything that's going wrong in the process. The kids that are just along for the ride. And all of the hilarity that follows, man. Oh, God, it's so good, dude. God damn. It's just one of those classic comedies that you just can't help but fall in love with every time you watch it. It's just that damn good, dude. The classics never go out of style. I always say that, and that includes comedies like National Lampoon's Vacation. You know, the National Lampoon brand has kind of went the way of the dinosaur over the years. They made a lot of very watered down movies, a lot of straight to DVD crap that is not that good. But back in the day, whether it was Animal House or the vacation movies, you name it, National Lampoon's used to be a brand that was meant to signal that you are gonna watch something fucking hilarious. And back in the day, that's exactly what you got, man. This is fun. It's quirky, it's hilarious, and you're just gonna fall in love with the characters and the family vacation, and it just reminds you of times with your own family and all the crazy, complicated hijinks that you got into where it should have just been a simple vacation and it turned into anything but. It is so great. I love these vacation movies, man, whether it's Christmas Vacation, regular National Lampoon's Vacation, European Vacation, Vegas Vacation. I think they're just all fun, and I just love this family of lovable misfits, and I could watch this any time of the year. It always brings a smile to my face, and the comedy will never go out of style, man. Never indeed. I'm surprised that the Griswolds have fucking lasted this long, dude. Through all the crazy wild vacations and through so much comedies that have come out over the years, it's easy for certain ones to go the way of the dinosaur or get drowned out. But for some reason, these movies are iconic. These movies continue to find fans and continue to be appreciated throughout the years, and I'm so glad for that, man. Certain movies go the way of the dinosaur, but not the Griswolds, not these vacation movies. They will forever be timeless, because as long as there's going to be family vacations, there will always be Griswold love, and that can never, and I mean never, be a bad thing. Well, if you got one Tom Cruise 4K, you know another isn't too far behind. Oh, in The Firm. Yes, look at this. The 4K Digital 4, $29. Sidney Pollack movie, courtroom drama action. Right up my alley, baby, because power can be murder to resist. Oh, you bet your ass it is. Oh, yeah. This is a great drama thriller, man. This is so good. I love the legal drama here. I love the suspense. So fantastically well done, man. The acting is phenomenal. Tom Cruise is amazing here. I love Ed Harris, Holly Hunter, Jean Triplehorn. So fantastic. It really is great. And it kind of feels like it's been underappreciated kind of throughout the years. I mean, when it came out, it was very popular and it remained popular for a long time, but now that Tom Cruise has sort of moved his career into a different angle, he's not really doing these courtroom dramas much anymore. He's doing much more action spectacles, which, hey, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, dude, that back in the day, he used to do a little bit more variety. Just saying, man. And The Firm was definitely one of them. The much younger days of Tom Cruise, dude. And I love this movie, man. If you have never seen it, love a good courtroom drama, love a little bit on your edge, suspense, thriller goodness, The Firm is definitely your jam, man. Not bad. The only thing that kind of sucks is there's no special features. I mean, seriously, dude, for The Firm, I was hoping for interviews or a commentary or trailer, something, man. And that kind of sucks because that's kind of the thing that pisses me off, though, right? Because these studios that put out these 4Ks, I understand why they're doing it, because it's an anniversary edition and it's nice to get the film back out there in the marketplace, especially on a new format like 4K. Totally get it. But if this was given to Criterion or Arrow or who knows what company, they could have done some great interviews and commentaries, retrospectives, you name it. But sometimes the studio just puts a 4K out there to just put a 4K out there without giving them anything extra. There is some really great fans of this movie, man. Fans of Tom Cruise. And you want to give them a little bit more for their hard-earned money, man. Just saying. I mean, I love the movie. I think it's going to look phenomenal in 4K. But a little bit disappointed on the feature love, man. Tom Cruise deserves better, dude. I mean, I can't say every Tom Cruise movie deserves better, mind you, but The Firm is a great courtroom drama. It definitely has the great thrill moments, and for me, underappreciated, but well worthy of a rewatch, 4K style.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to show off the new 4K Steelbook editions of the Mission Impossible films. I think it's a mission I'll gladly accept. Oh, yes, Mission Impossible Tom Cruise style, baby. The Steelbook 4K love. Mission Impossible and Mission Impossible 2. Oh, look at that, baby. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, sweet indeed. That is so great. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't think these would be at Barnes & Noble's. I knew they'd be at Best Buy, but I didn't think Barnes & Noble's be getting this stuff in. So that is fucking awesome that they have these, man. And the Steely love for more Tom Cruise appreciation can never, and I mean never, be a bad thing, especially when it's Mission Impossible. Oh, dude, I love the Mission Impossible series. It is one of the only franchises that seriously has gotten better with every single installment. Like, they keep on one-upping themselves. And every single time I'm like, well, they can't really outdo themselves this time. And then they totally prove me wrong. I'm like, my God, man, Tom Cruise is putting his body on the line. The wild action sequences, the bad guys, the stakes are being raised higher and higher all the goddamn time. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is so fucking cool, dude. And the first one that started it all, man. This is a really, really solid Mission Impossible movie. It definitely feels like it's paying a lot of homage and taking a lot of influence from the original Mission Impossible TV show, but trying to spin their own narrative at the same time. It's a really solid movie, directed by Brian De Palma. Some really great actors in here. John Reno is really fantastic, of course. My man Ving Rhames. Hell, even Emilio Estevez is in this thing early on, man. So it's got a great cast. John Voight as well. And that doesn't even include the action sequences, which are tense and thrilling, on the edge of your seat. Even that one sequence where they're trying to break into that facility to get the knock list, and the fact that you can't even perspire on the floor and his sweat is slowly going down his glasses and shit, and he's gotta like catch it with his hand before it hits the floor. I'm like, what the fuck? And like, my God, dude, that's some dense shit. It's so great, man. This is the one that started it all, and it's still really good to this day, man. I still really love the first Mission Impossible movie. Now, where everybody still really loves the first Mission Impossible movie, a lot of people are very lukewarm on Mission Impossible 2, man. I remember the hype around Mission Impossible 2. People were really excited because how much Mission Impossible delivered. They couldn't wait for the sequel. There was so much promotion, man. Even Limp Bizkit did the music video. Do you remember that shit?
I do, dude. I used to be a big fan of Limp Bizkit back in the day. I'm like, dude, Limp Bizkit is doing the Mission Impossible theme. Oh, yeah. Dude, I was all over that shit. Oh, man. It was big, dude. And again, directed by John Woo, who had done all these great, foreign action movies. So it was hyped big time. And a lot of people kind of felt let down, but I never did, dude. I thought it was a really solid movie. I thought it upped the ante. I love the action sequences, like the whole dirt bike sequence where him and the main bad guy are fighting each other and flying off of the motorbikes. Like, man, that's some crazy shit. Like, I love that stuff. Tom Cruise is definitely upping the ante with his physicality even more. The crazy stunts and the characters. I definitely really felt the John Woo influence in Mission Impossible 2, man, with the whole doves and the whole slow-mo action stuff. I thought it delivered pretty well, man. It's not the best of the franchise necessarily, but I don't think it's as bad as everybody says it is, man. I still really dig this. The love story between him and Tandy Newton and the villain Dougray Scott, which, to be fair, Dougray Scott is sort of a lesser Tom Cruise anyways. So they just got a lesser Tom Cruise to be the bad guy, which, okay, fine, whatever, man. It's still got all the crazy Mission Impossible hijinks and the switching of people's personalities and the masks and shit. It's got all that stuff, dude. I still really love it. I guess out of the entire franchise, is it the weakest? Yeah, maybe it is the weakest of the entire franchise, but I still think this is a strong entry. And so even the weakest Mission Impossible movie is still a fucking kick-ass action film. So I've always appreciated Mission Impossible 2. Even though I'm probably one of the only ones that do, I still really love it, man. I still think it's kick-ass, man. John Woo love, I can't beat it. What can I tell you, man? Fucking cool, dude. Look at this. Steely love Mission Impossible and Mission Impossible 2. That is awesome. Oh, dude, I know they're putting all of the Mission Impossible movies out on Steelbook, and the first two, if they all look as good as this, I may be starting to get the Mission Impossible franchise in the collection. Finally. Oh, so goddamn good, man. The missions are great. The villains are evil as shit. The stunts are badass. And Tom Cruise, man, he is an action star for the ages. The man keeps on putting his body on the line for our entertainment, and God bless his heart and soul. God bless it indeed, baby, because there will never be another movie star like Tom Cruise. I can guarantee you that. I can indeed. Not bad with the Mission Impossible Steelbook love, all of the new release goodness, the 4K upgrades. Oh, so goddamn good. Even seeing new release 3D love. Barnes & Noble was delivering in a big bad way, and I always appreciate it. Hope you do too. Pretty goddamn solid. Let's head out. I gotta hand it to Barnes & Nobles because when we talk in physical media, I think they know how to do it. And I think they do it pretty goddamn good. Oh, absolutely, baby. And this week is no exception to the rule because we've got the new release love. We've got the 4K upgrades. We've got the surprises. Man, if only every place was like this, I'd be in heaven. You bet your ass I would be. This was pretty goddamn solid. Most places were pretty goddamn solid. All of the new release goodies, a few little unique surprises and exclusives here and there. Definitely gets the blood going, and it makes me a very happy and glorious physical media fanboy. It's places like Barnes & Nobles that continue to give me hope for the future of physical media in retail locations, and let's hope it keeps on continuing because this week was pretty goddamn solid. But enough about the in-store love. How about we head home and finish the video? All right, everybody, that'll do it for the Blu-ray and DVD out and about video this week, and it turned out to be pretty damn good. Oh, it definitely did, man.
some unique releases, some interesting exclusives, and quite a bit of media worth talking about. Oh, absolutely it has been, man. I gotta admit, not every week is gonna be like this, but hey, a little bit of Avatar, a little bit of horror, a little bit of Steelbook love here and there. It's good to spice it up. Oh, absolutely it is, man. Hopefully you picked up something good this week, because Lord knows there is enough out there to pique any collector's fancy. So definitely let me know. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, I got a few things. I did, man. This is a major mega stack that I got to show you guys, man. This is wild. Not only did I get online stuff, but I got a lot of in-store stuff as well. Boutique label love. Ooh, lots of unique and interesting things. So let's dive in, because this is going to be well worth talking about, man. And, you know, I'm always about certain upgrades for the collection, right? I've always told you guys that not every time am I going to upgrade, but when I think it's worth it, I definitely am going to go for this. And this movie, getting the upgrade love, I had to grab it. There was no doubt about it, man. Considering that not only is it a comedy classic, but, well, pretty damn funny too. Oh, it really is. When we're talking about none other than National Lampoon's Vacation. Oh, look at this. This is the Steely Love, baby. Oh, look at that. Oh, pretty goddamn sweet, man. Oh, nice. You gotta dig it. And oh, I definitely do. Oh, not bad, man. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, wait a second, Seth. You showed off the regular 4K at Barnes & Noble's. Where the hell did you get this thing? Well, I drove down to Best Buy, which is an hour away from me, and I just went in there to see about a couple other things that I knew most likely they'd have, but I didn't think they'd have this. And I was looking at it, and I'm like, ooh, this looks pretty good. Ooh, I might want to grab it. And I did, man. It just looked too good not to. I mean, the regular 4K looks amazing, but the Steelbook, oh, come on, that artwork's pretty sweet. Okay, it really is. And it's nice to have not only more Chevy Chase in the collection, yes, but just a really great overall solid comedic movie, man. I gotta admit to you, a lot of the new comedies that are coming out nowadays, I'm not as much of a fan of. I like the old school stuff from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, man. I love that shit. And they just don't do it like they used to back in the day. And movies like this prove it, man. The charm, the personality, the charisma, the goofiness of the Griswold family is so infectiously fun. I dig every moment of hilariousness in this. And man, I could watch this all the time. That's how much in love with these movies I am. Whether it's Christmas Vacation, whether it's the National Lampoon's Vacation, European Vacation, Vegas Vacation, I love all of these movies in one way or another, and it's nice to get another one in the collection. So I have Christmas Vacation. I now have National Lampoon's Vacation. I'm hoping they put out the other ones eventually. European, yes, but also Vegas, because I do like the Vegas Vacation as well. I think that's pretty fun too. So eventually, maybe all of them will get a little bit of extra 4K love. Let's hope they do, because if that happens, I think I'm going to continue to add them to the collection. Oh, but more Steely Love for Comedic Classic? I think that's well worth it. Oh, indeed I do, man. Not bad at all. And then, speaking of more 4K goodness, just had to pick this up, man. And I figured, well, you know, Tom Cruise deserves a lot of love. And this one, yeah, I think it's well worth adding to the collection. Oh, indeed I do. When we talk about none other than Vanilla Sky. Oh, yes, man. I've told you guys when I was at Barnes & Noble's how much I love this movie. I think this movie is fantastic. It's romantic, it's dramatic, it messes with your mind. It has all these great unpredictable moments. On top of that, the acting is so solid. The directing is superb. This is one hell of a story, and man, it does not disappoint. And even rewatching it gives it an extra layer to it, because once you know the story and once you know where everything goes, it's kind of seeing all the cool little Easter eggs and the little moments that at first didn't make any sense and now really does. And it just makes the multiple viewing experiences even richer. It's really phenomenal. I've always loved this movie. And for me, it was one of the ones that when they announced it, I knew I had to get this. Lord knows I have been passing on this constantly. The Blu-ray editions, the Paramount Presents one that they ended up putting out not too long ago. So I was like, oh my God, man, I've been like literally passing on every release. I can't pass up on this. Absolutely not, man. Well worth getting some more Tom Cruise love in the collection. 4K style. Not bad at all. Again, I also picked this up at Best Buy too, so there is that. Not bad for Tom Cruise love. But that's not all for Tom Cruise goodness, because yeah, you can have a little bit dramatic, romantic, messing with your mind movie, but, well, there's also classic action Tom Cruise as well. If you think I'm passing that up, you one insane mofo, because I got, oh yes, some Mission Impossible goodness. You bet your ass. With Mission Impossible 1, baby. The original. The one that started it all. Oh, yes, man. IMF. Impossible Mission Force, United States of America. Not bad, man. Look at this. Now, when they started announcing these steelbooks, there was something in my brain that finally clicked and said, I gotta start to have these, man. And Lord knows I have been passing up on all of these Mission Impossible box sets and all of these editions. I've been passing all of them. So why suddenly now am I grabbing these? Well, number one, because we're getting towards the end of the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible journey, right? Because I've heard reports and rumors that with Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Dead Reckoning Part 2, that pretty much this is going to be the swan song for Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt. And quite honestly, I can't blame Tom Cruise, okay? Because dude's in his 60s, okay? Alright? The guy literally has been putting his body on the line for quite a long time. I think he needs a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of rest, recuperation perhaps, maybe, but goddamn, dude, he has really been putting it on the line for a long time. As long as they end up being a satisfying finale for the Ethan Hunt character, for the Mission Impossible series, then I'll definitely take it. So it feels like they're kind of ramping up towards the end, putting out these steelbook editions. And on top of that, I love the artwork to these, man. The artwork looks really fucking awesome. Like I said, the back is really fucking cool. I really dig that. And I figured steelbook love as well. So all in all, it kind of finally got me to start putting them in the collection, man. It finally did. And the first one is so great, man. I love the first film. It really just sets up the world of Mission Impossible and Ethan Hunt and the crazy adventures that they're gonna go on and the action scenes and the edge of your seat thrill rides. It was so well done and it's so great. And to just think about where the series started with this one and where we are now, man, it's been such a crazy wild journey, and I'm so glad to start owning these in the collection, man, because they're awesome action movies. I love the thrills, I love the crazy wild bad guys, and just the crazy stunts that Tom Cruise does, man. It just has to be seen to be believed, and it's just so goddamn good, man. So finally, I'm gonna start having these in the collection. And why not start with the original? Why not indeed, man? Not bad, baby. But Well, if I got Mission Impossible 1, I suppose I'm grabbing Mission Impossible 2. Oh, yeah, baby. Look at this. Nice. Again, the IMF crew. And with every release, not only with Mission Impossible 1, but also with every single release afterwards, they put in these cool stickers for the IMF, which is really fucking cool, man. Look at that. That's fucking kick-ass, man. So I love that, dude. That is awesome. Just makes me kind of feel like part of the crew. I know you'll survive, Tom Cruise, but if I'm part of it, you mind if I survive along with you? I want to see the next film. I don't want to be just another casualty. Just saying, man. But, yes, Mission Impossible 2. Okay. As I said at Barnes & Noble's, a lot of people really don't like this movie, man. I think they consider this probably the redheaded stepchild of the series, or the fact that it's the one we talk less about. But I've always really enjoyed it, man. I've always enjoyed the hyper-realism of John Woo films and how he films action, and I love his aesthetic as a filmmaker, and bringing it to the Mission Impossible franchise, I think, was pitch perfect, man. I love what he does here with the action scenes, with the story, with the femme fatale moments, with the great, awesome bike chase scene, and with the shootouts. Like, I really love what he brings to this series, and it felt like Tom Cruise was absolutely game to go wherever John Woo wanted, man, and I dug it. I really do, man. I mean, if I were to rank them, would it probably be on the lower end of the spectrum? Yes, it probably would, but that being said, it's still a phenomenal action movie with great fucking action scenes, and I just love the thrills and the edge of your seat moments. On top of that, a killer soundtrack. And it's got it all for me, man. I definitely dig this one. Yeah, not the best, but honestly, even at its worst, it's still better than 90% of the action stuff that's coming out nowadays. So, really, why you hating? Just saying, man. And of course, with every John Woo film, you get all the flying doves and the slow motion shit. Yeah, you know how John Woo does it, man. Not bad. Hey, it ain't the best, but for me, it's pretty damn sweet. So I got Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 1, and, oh, by the way, when I get a chance to collect the other ones, I'll be showing them off too. Oh, you bet your ass I will. Not bad for a little bit of Mission Impossible goodness. Let's hope these don't self-destruct, because I did pay a pretty penny for them. Just saying, man. Yeah, it's pretty goddamn good indeed. But, oh, that is not all, man, because I decided, yeah, it's nice to get in-store stuff, but maybe doing an order with Diabolic DVD, that's pretty sweet too. Oh, it is indeed, man, because I picked up some good old Kino Lorber love, man. And what I do sometimes with Diabolic is I end up ordering for a lot of weeks altogether, right? Like a certain amount of releases that is going to come out over time. I ordered them all through Diabolic, and then when eventually they come in, they just ship it in one big pile, right? And this is one of those moments. And oh, what I got, so damn good, man. These were well worth the wait. Not bad at all, baby. And the first one is a great football classic, man. I've told you guys how much I love sports movies, especially when it comes to football. And adding another one to the collection, man, makes it all the more worth it. And that, not only a great football movie, but a great Burt Reynolds movie at that. And that's none other than The Longest Yard. Oh, look at that, baby. The 4K Blu-ray. Pretty sweet indeed. Look at that. Nice with the good old Burt Reynolds stash. This is a great movie, man. I love the comedy in here. I love the football hijinks. I love the characters. It is so fun, and it's incredibly entertaining, and it is one of Burt Reynolds' best. It truly is, dude. I've loved this movie ever since I saw it way back in the day on VHS, and I've never had it in the collection. How crazy is that to not have this, man? But I made sure to rectify that with the 4K love. And I gotta admit, I remember when Adam Sandler did the remake to this, and I went to go see in the movie theater, and I didn't hate it. I thought it was actually an okay remake, all things considered. But I was like, yeah, even if it's alright, pretty decent, it's never gonna top The Longest Yard, the original. It's just never gonna do it, man. It's the same idea that if they ever remade Slapshot, right? Like, if they ever did that, yeah, it might be okay, depending, but it's never going to be the original. And it's the same concept here, man. It's just so great, and, man, to finally get in the collection, damn glad for a little bit of Kino love. That's for damn sure, man. Not bad for Longest Yard. But then I decided to get more 4K goodness, because it's nice to have Burt Reynolds love in the collection, but it's even sweeter to have more Pacino goodness. And that is none other than Serpico. Look at this, baby. Many of his fellow officers consider him the most dangerous man alive. An honest cop. Oh, yeah. Well, that alone makes him public enemy number 1. Oh, you bet your ass it is. Ah, nice. Not bad indeed. This is a great dramatic action movie, man. I love this movie. Pacino is superb in this role, man. I had to buy this, man. I've always loved this movie. I've never had it in the collection, and it's one of those classic Pacino flicks that if you are a lover of this man, of his acting ability, yes, you've got to have movies like The Godfather, of course. Easy, right? But there's other ones out there, and this one is definitely one of them. I'd put it alongside Carlito's Way and a lot of other great movies that he's done. He's just that damn good in the movie. It's so well done, and damn is it entertaining. I had to put it in the collection. No doubt about it, man. But then there was another 4K that came out, which I was on the fence about at first, but I thought, you know what, I've been passing on this movie so many times, every single Criterion sale, that to finally see it get some Kino love, 4K Kino love, I was like, maybe it's time for me to pull the trigger. Maybe indeed, because Robert Mitchum, man, he's one badass motherfucker, especially in The Night of the Hunter. Yes, oh man, dude. God damn, this is so good. Look, I love me some good Criterion appreciation. I do, man. And every so often, every sale, whether it was July or November, every single year, I'd always look at Night of the Hunter. I would always look at that Blu-ray that Criterion has, and I would just look at it, and I'd hold it in my hands, and I'd contemplate it, and then some reason, some way, somehow I talk myself out of it. And I couldn't even really tell you why I talked myself out of it, right? I just knew that I'm gonna wait. And I couldn't really explain why I was gonna wait. I just could. And I guess maybe something in me all those years said eventually Kino's gonna release a 4K of it. Sure, we'll go with that. We'll go with that indeed, man. It's just such a fantastic movie, and Robert Mitchum is so terrifying and intimidating, man. It's such a phenomenal movie, and to have it in 4K appreciation like this, that is well worth it. 1955, man, and it still holds up to this day. It's just a phenomenal story. You're on the edge of your seat. Unpredictable. You don't know where it's going to go. And Robert Mitchum, man, not only does he have charisma for days, but 1 minute he could charm you with a smile, and the next minute, man, he could literally be stabbing your ass to death, dude. I just love movies like this, man. Stuff like this, or Cape Fear, man. So good, dude. And he's fantastic in roles like this. And, man, movies like this still prove to this day that if you have a really great, juicy, meaty bad guy role, that shit lasts a long time. Robert Mitchum in The Night of the Hunter proves the theory pretty goddamn well. If you've never seen this, yeah, you could get the 4K or you could get the Criterion Blu-ray, but it's definitely well worthy for all the movie aficionados out there, just for Robert Mitchum alone. So damn good, man. And all the good special features on top of it. Damn glad to finally have in the collection. Yes, it's not Criterion love, but Kino love ain't half bad either. It's not, man. Not too shabby. And then the final one. Okay, the final Kino Lorber pickup. When they announced this, I knew I had to get this, guys. There was not a single doubt in my mind that I was going to get this, because I remember watching this all those years ago, and I just love the cheesiness, the over-the-topness, the ridiculousness of this movie. And I got to admit, at least for this film, Brian Bosworth ain't half bad in Stone Cold. Oh, baby. A cop who enforces his own brand of justice. Yeah. Oh, man. This is so good. I remember, I think it might have been like Mill Creek or something. It's one of those labels out there that put out an edition of Stone Cold. And there was a long time where I was really contemplating buying that. But there was no special features to it whatsoever, and I heard it was just not a great release, and so I was like, Stone Cold is such this great little cult classic action movie, and I'm like, dude, it deserves so much better. And when Kino announced it, I was like flipping. I was like, oh my god, man, they're releasing this? It's so good. And so I knew this had to get a pickup, man. I knew it just had to. I mean, Lance Henriksen is the bad guy, leader of the biker gang. Oh, it's so cool. He's so great in this movie, man. Him and Brian Bosworth going at it toe to toe. I fucking love this movie, man. Like I said, I watched this movie long ago, man, way back in the day. And yeah, it's not everybody's jam, but I've always sort of found it kitschy and ridiculous and just kind of over the top in the most like ridiculous of ways, but it has a lot of great charm, and it has a lot of really cheesy one-liners and moments where you're like, really? But I don't know, I was so entertained by this movie, and I really dig it, man. And as far as cheesy action flicks go, it's in my heart, man. Gotta love it, dude. And the special features are great. You get audio commentary, you get a bunch of interviews and featurettes. I mean, dude, this is the best release that Stone Cold has ever gotten, probably will ever get, and I needed it in the collection. I really did, man. And the different artwork on the inside, too. Oh, so good. Oh, fantastic, man. Dude, Kino is doing the Lord's work, okay? It really is. And, man, they could release a lot of really wonderful, amazing, prestige films like Night of the Hunter or Serpico. And then they'll release something like Stone Cold where you're like, yeah, it might not be prestige, but damn, is it fun. Oh, it really is. And I definitely dig it, man. Finally having this in the collection makes me very, very happy. Oh, indeed it does, man. Who doesn't love a little bit of good action cheese in your movie library? Especially when it comes to 90s action cheese. Oh, I'll definitely take it. Oh, you bet your ass will. Stone Cold finally in the collection. About damn time. Oh, yes. But that is not all. I know, it's crazy. I have shown off so many things to you guys, but I've got one more thing to show you, man. And this, finally having this in my hands is freaking awesome, dude. Finally to have it. When you back something on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you gotta wait a long ass time before you get anything, whether it's poster or a shirt or you name it. But sometimes even longer when it comes to the movie itself. Sometimes the wait is worth it once you finally get in your hands, because Friday the 13th fan film goodness can't be beat when we talking about Roseblood. Yeah, Friday the 13th fan film. Oh, amazing. Yes, it is, dude. You know, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have always been a big lover, and I've had a lot of appreciation for fan films over the years, whether it's been Star Trek or Star Wars, Halloween, Friday the 13th. I could go on and on, man. There's something about fan films that is very pure. And I think the reason why it is for me is because you can see that these people who are making these movies, they really love the series. They really love the property. And they just want to put their own spin on it, their own love to it, like a love letter to their favorite series and characters. And sometimes, not gonna lie, some of these fan films are actually better than some of the movies. Because you could just feel how much they care about the material. And maybe it's not the most well shot, maybe it's not the most well put together, but sometimes you can really see the passion that's coming through, man. And for Friday the 13th, let me tell you, fans, they are hardcore, man. They love Jason motherfucking Voorhees. They love the world of Camp Crystal Lake. They love the survivors and all the characters, and so do I, man. And if you've kept up with the channel long enough, pickup videos and whatnot, you've noticed that I have had a few Friday the 13th fan films that I've gotten in the collection. And with this one was yet another that I wanted, man. The fact that we've got Lar Park Lincoln back from part 7 to face Jason again, man. That is pretty goddamn sweet, dude. And I knew that I had to back this. It's a great little Friday the 13th film, man. I really love it. Seeing Lar Park back, seeing, obviously, their recreation of Jason from part 7 with, like, the rib cage showing and everything with his look. They do a really great job trying to put their own spin on the Friday the 13th mythology and the whole Lar Park Lincoln Jason connection. I think it's fun and I think it's entertaining, and I definitely wanted a copy of this in a big bad way, man. I truly did. It's on YouTube. You can check it out on YouTube if you want, but I wanted a physical media copy of this, man. I truly did, dude. God, I really wanted it indeed. It is just a really great, fun little Friday the 13th fan film, and I gotta admit, right now the Friday the 13th series is stagnant. It's kind of stale. I mean, we're not getting anything new. Yeah, we're getting that Friday the 13th prequel series about Jason's mother and the camp counselors, and I'm like, okay, I hope it's good, but it's not like grown-up Jason hacking and slashing people, and I kind of want more of that. But at the same time, we've gotten like 12 Friday the 13th films. We've gotten a lot of great material of Jason, and I think it's kind of cool to see the fans sort of taking over and doing their thing and spinning new Jason Voorhees tales. And if it's anything like this, yeah, I'm gonna do my due diligence and support these people. I really am, because I see the passion, I see the determination, I see the love that they have for this property, and yeah, maybe they're not as polished as a Friday the 13th film in general, but man, they're still a hell of a lot of fun. And for me, as a Friday the 13th fanboy, I want it in the collection. Oh, I truly do, man. A little bit of Friday the 13th fan film love. I think it deserves a place. Oh, indeed. Look at that. Oh, so good. So good. And, oh, by the way, it also came with this, which is really cool, man. It comes with the death toll from the movie, which is awesome. Look at that, man. It actually shows all of the different kills, which is really cool, dude. Oh, it's fucking awesome, man. I was like, looking at it, I was like, what? Jason does that? Like, this is great. This is cool, man. I was not expecting this. I just was thinking I was gonna get this, and I got a little bit of add-on bonus, which is fucking awesome, man. That's pretty cool, dude. Not bad. And not bad for the physical media goodness. Oh my god, dude. Wow. Yeah. I think I'm definitely adding some movies to the collection in a big bad way. And before I let you guys go, I gotta talk about this one. Now, I've always said to you guys how much I appreciate film, appreciate movies, and the preservation of cinema. And when it comes to some of these filmmakers, I think they agree with me. From Entertainment Weekly, Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, and Paul Thomas Anderson step in to save TCM. Let's dive in, shall we? Lovers of classic cinema breathed a sigh of relief today, and it came out as a puff of gorgeously black-lit cigarette smoke. Esteemed directors and avowed film buff Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and Paul Thomas Anderson basically saved the beloved cable channel Turner Classic Movies after a series of recent layoffs at the network. As IndieWire first reported, the trio placed an emergency call to Warner Bros. CEO David Zaslav last week, following cuts to the majority of the network's leadership, including Senior VP of Programming and Content Strategy Charles Tebesh. Tebesh, however, will return to TCM with Scorsese, Spielberg, and Anderson acting as unpaid volunteers who will help guide and curate the network's programming, even including host intros and outros. TCM's Classic Film Festival will also continue. We already have begun working on ideas with Warner Brothers executives, both true film enthusiasts who share a passion and reverence for classic cinema that is the hallmark of the TCM community, the director said in a joint statement. This unique arrangement, initiated by David Zaslav, reflects his commitment to honoring the TCM legacy while also involving us on curation and programming. We are thrilled that longtime programmer Charlie Tebesh will be staying with TCM and gratified to know that the team is focused on preserving TCM's mission of celebrating our rich movie history while at the same time ensuring the future generations of filmmakers and film lovers have TCM as a valuable resource. Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group issued a statement of its own saying TCM is a cultural treasure and we are honored to help steer the future direction of this beloved brand with the partnership of three of the most iconic filmmakers of our time, Stephen, Marty, and Paul. Oh, indeed it does, man. But I'm sort of one of those people that is I'll see it when I believe it guy. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, yeah, they could say it, but I'm waiting for the results. Oh, indeed I am, man. Because look, okay, why did they even have to do this in the first place? Why did Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Paul Thomas Anderson, why did they have to go out of their way to make an emergency call to the head of Warner Brothers to save TCM? Why was that even a thing? Well, because David Zaslav and Warner Brothers are slashing and hacking everything in their path when it comes to Warner Brothers, man. They are trying to save a penny and stretching it as long as they possibly can, man. And they are licensing off all kinds of music rights and film rights, and whatever person here that was doing this job that seemed important, well, fuck them, they're gone. Okay? And that's pretty much the mentality of Warner Brothers right now, man. They are getting rid of anything and everything in their path. If it doesn't make sense to them, fuck it, it's gone, okay? And TCM was on the chopping block. I mean, in a big bad way. Even the article goes out to say the fact that there were a lot of layoffs at TCM, including the vice president of programming, for Christ's sake. I mean, they were getting the axe. Everybody was going, and TCM was literally on the verge of death. I mean, literally, it was like a Mortal Kombat game. They were ready to do the death blow. All right? And these filmmakers came in at the last second and said, you guys, what are you doing? You can't do this. I mean, yeah. We might not like a lot of what the modern day cinema is. We like more of the old school stuff. And you as a company, we understand that you've got to worry about the bottom line and stretching a dollar as far as it can possibly go. And
You don't see these old school classic films as something that really serves your narrative nowadays. You're just shoving blockbusters in people's faces that don't really matter. The latest DC spectacle that you think is going to make billions of dollars. And these classic films kind of feel like been there, done that. But yeah, we kind of give a shit about this stuff. And if you don't, well, somebody will. And if you're not going to save it, well, we're going to save it for you. And that's exactly what these filmmakers did, man. And at the same time, look, I understand Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese, all these people, they're busy guys, okay? And I understand that they're not going to go out of their way to literally pour over all of the programming and shit, okay? I get it, man. They're probably going to get a list and maybe pick some out of the list, and that's their idea of curating. Maybe it is. I don't know, man. But the fact that they felt so strongly about wanting to preserve this, that says something. Now you can also argue, well, what about a lot of other filmmakers out there? Why didn't they go out of their way to preserve it like some of these other directors have? Who knows? Maybe they didn't want to get involved. Maybe they felt that these three filmmakers got it in the bag, so why add on to it? I mean, who knows, man? But the fact that these top tier filmmakers felt the need to save this says something about cinema nowadays. It says something about the state of the world we're living in when it comes to movies, right? And these big Hollywood studios. Because I've told you guys that now these companies are all in on streaming. And I've also told you guys that with the streaming wars that are going on, there is casualties. And there is certain programming, original programming, that a lot of these companies have done, whether it's Disney and HBO Max, now called Max, which, oh, by the way, is owned by Warner Brothers, and a lot of other companies out there that are literally getting rid of content because there's not enough eyeballs on it, it hasn't made them enough money. Even though they themselves created the content, they do not want it on their channel anymore, and so they are literally getting rid of it like it never even existed. Not even a physical media copy that's out there for you to get it just in case you liked the damn thing. They're just getting rid of things just for the sake of getting rid of things because it doesn't actually serve their bottom line. And David Zaslav is one of these Hollywood executives right now that is literally seeing anything in his path that doesn't make any sense to him keeping. And he's just saying, fuck it, we're just getting rid of it. And now Turner Classic Movies, that has literally been the beacon of light in a lot of ways, along with the Criterion Channel, that has literally been one of these great bright spots that you could always go to find great old school classic movies. Moments in cinema that deserve to find a new home, deserve to find a new audience out there, and deserve to be preserved and to be seen as widely as humanly possible, not to be forgotten. And nowadays, what I'm finding with a lot of cinema, whether it's old school cult classics, whether it's cinema from back in the day, the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you name it, a lot of these movies that basically these Hollywood executives or these big name studios just see no interest in. If we're not remaking it, if we're not putting the latest TikTok, Instagram sensation into the movie to get the teeny boppers in the crowd, then why the fuck do we care about this movie? Oh, I don't know, because it's part of cinematic history. It's movies that actually paved the way for a lot of future movies and a lot of future and present filmmakers who really love that material, that got inspired by that material, got inspired by those movie moments and those characters and those iconic old school filmmakers that paved the way. Oh, maybe that's the reason why? Nah, fuck that. Okay? This is what's going on nowadays. And I've always told you guys that nowadays we're living in such a fast-paced world. We're living in a mile-a-minute social media context of a society that everything is just going by so quickly and so fast, and we don't stop to appreciate things anymore. And nowadays, with these big Hollywood studios, with these big executives who get paid millions upon millions of dollars and could literally care less about your likes and dislikes in cinema, as long as you pay them a certain money on their streaming platform, as long as you're going to the movie theater and seeing the latest DC Wonder, that's all they care about to you. You're just a number. You're just, dollar bills to them. That's all they care about with you, man. And, oh, if you like some of those great old school black and white movies, oh, that's great. Yeah. Have you picked up any lately, physical media wise, or did you buy anything that we could say that, you actually supported us? Well, not for like a week, maybe, or a month. Oh, well, fuck you then. That's exactly what their mentality is, guys. And I've always told you that physical media is important. And owning your favorite movies, owning the things that you love, is a part of that. And yes, nothing lasts forever. I understand this. But at the same time, having that movie in your collection for as long as you have it, that means something. That means that you are part of preserving that movie, for good or bad. You're helping. And that can't be understated. That really can't, man. And the fact that these filmmakers had to come in to even save this great preservation of what TCM does, the fact that they had to go out of their way to make an emergency call to this executive to try to convince them of the importance of this, and the fact that they had to literally personally involve themselves in the curation of these movies just so that this could be saved, says a lot more about the Hollywood executives out there, the studio system, David Zaslav, than it does anything else, man. I mean, I'm so happy to hear Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg and these great filmmakers coming in to save the day. Whether you like what these filmmakers have done, their movies, their personalities, things that they've said or haven't said over the years, the fact that they did this, I think you do have to show a certain amount of support for these guys. And the idea that they didn't have to do this. They could have said, well, look, cinema is what it is, and it's a constant reverberating circle, and, well, yeah, TCM was what it was, and we live in a digital age now, and we don't really need TCM, and it could just go the way of the dinosaur and be done with it. But no, these filmmakers really found a purpose and really found a really great opportunity to save old school classic cinema, even if only for a little bit, man. I mean, Martin Scorsese is somebody who loves classic old school cinema. He has talked about some amazing movies out there, things that are literally released by Criterion. He's gone on record and really talked about amazing movies like The Red Shoes. He's always really commented on really classic old school cinema. Steven Spielberg has done the same. Paul Thomas Anderson is a lover and somebody who has studied film and the history of cinema. So these guys know what they're talking about. They have the love of cinema like you and I do. And yeah, they might not love everything. They might not love everything that I love necessarily, but the fact that they're out there preserving old school cinema really says to me that these guys understand the importance of it and understand the idea that these films should not be forgotten. Maybe they're not as cool as some of the young kids want them to be. Oh, they're black and white, or oh, there's not half naked women in them. Who gives a shit? I mean, who knows, man? But the idea that they thought it was important enough to do this, and the fact that these are important enough filmmakers to get somebody like a David Zaslav to literally back off, that is really great, and that cannot be understated at all, man. Look, I'm glad it got saved, because Lord knows Warner Brothers is, to me, they are in a free fall of literally getting rid of everything that is so important to the Warner Brothers brand, man. And Yeah, I understand promoting the latest blockbusters and the DCs and the Harry Potters and the action franchises. I get it, man. But, you know, I'm always somebody that remembers where I came from and remember the legacy of a lot of these studios, the Paramounts and the Universals and the Warner Brothers and the Disneys, you name it. And the idea of just getting rid of that out of convenience because you need to save a buck. That doesn't sit right with me, guys. And I really am a firm believer on the preservation of cinema. And I'm glad that these guys agree with me. I may not agree with them on everything, maybe not on most. But this I happen to agree with them on. This is why I collect physical media. This is why I find the importance of collecting what I love. Because I have these movies. And there is not a streaming site or a Hollywood executive that is going to tell me otherwise. And I am damn glad to have these in the collection. I am damn glad to do my part on the preservation and the importance of the cinema. I'm a very minutia part of it. But I'm doing my part. What about you? What do you think about this, guys? Do you agree with what they did? The fact that they saved this from obscurity? The fact that David Zaslav was literally getting ready to chop its head off, and these guys came in the last second to pardon it? Or do you think that maybe it should go? Maybe we live in a digital age now where, hey, if it survives, it survives, and if it doesn't, well, it is what it is. I happen to be the former, but let me know what you guys think, though. But, hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely give it the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Check out the other Blu-ray and DVD out and about videos that I do. Check out the movie reviews with my friends, Blu-ray pickup videos, unboxings, live streams, you name it, all the older content and newer content that is slowly but surely coming your way down the line. I want to thank my really great subscribers, man. You guys are amazing. You're patient, you're understanding, you watch all of the videos, even if they're crazy long. I really do appreciate it. The great feedback. You guys are amazing and awesome, and I can't thank you enough for supporting me, truly from the bottom of my heart. These videos are not easy to do. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of work, and sometimes I'm literally dead ass exhausted, but if you guys, even one of you enjoys it, then it's worth doing. It really is, man. Thank you so much. So if you like how I talk about movies and physical media, definitely hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be notified every single time that I make a video. Also, keep up to date with everything I'm doing through Instagram and Facebook. FilmFan108, keep up to date with everything I'm doing, plus special pictures and videos I do from time to time on social media as well. And lest we forget that I still have a P.O. box. Yes, the P.O. box is active, guys, and I understand we're living in some tough time that is not expected, but is definitely appreciated. If you want to send the channel any movie-related goodness, you can do it. The P.O. box is in the description below. I have gotten some amazing things from you guys. It has been phenomenal having this P.O. box, and it's been a while since I've gotten anything good, and I'm hoping maybe the good times are still ahead of me. I hope so. So if you guys want to send anything, physical media, care package, posters, whatever it is, it's all appreciated, and I will always cherish it. So if you are interested, P.O. box down in the description below. But I guess that does it for the video. It's been a wild ride of physical media craziness, and let's hope it continues even more. Let's hope it does indeed, guys. But I will see you back next week for a brand new Blu-ray and DVD out and about video. Take care, everybody, and remember, happy hunting.